What if the village's greatest failure became their most terrifying nightmare? When Naruto Uzumaki awakens abilities that transcend time itself, the shinobi world trembles. No longer the laughingstock, no longer holding back. This is the story of a boy who masters the art of assassination so perfectly that even death bows to his will. Time stops, hearts cease beating, and in zero point 0.1 seconds, legends crumble. Welcome to the rise of the perfect assassin, where mercy is weakness and dominance is absolute.
The blade whistled through the air, a mere inch from his face. Not luck, not chance. Time itself had bent to his will. Time skip, Naruto Uzumaki whispered, his cerulean eyes cold as winter frost as he reappeared behind his opponent. The Ambu assassin never saw it coming, the precise strike to the back of his neck, severing his brainstem in an instant. Death without sound, death without warning. This wasn't the loud, orange-clad child Konoha expected. This was something else entirely. Target eliminated, Naruto stated flatly, adjusting his black gloves as the body collapsed. 14 seconds. That's 3 seconds faster than last time, Shisui-sensei. From the shadows emerged Shisui Uchiha, the legendary body flicker user. His eyes widened in disbelief. That wasn't the body flicker technique I taught you, Naruto. What was that? Naruto shrugged, his face betraying no emotion. I call it time skip. I don't move fast, I skip time itself. Shisui Sharingan activated involuntarily, trying to process what he'd witnessed. The fourth Hokage's flying thunder god was considered unbeatable, but this is something else entirely. It's just who I am, Naruto replied, wiping a speck of blood from his dark attire. Now, shall we continue the training? Or are we going to stand around talking all day? The shinobi world was about to learn a harsh lesson. The demon child they had feared was nothing compared to the assassin he would become. Konogakure had made a critical error in its treatment of Naruto Uzumaki. They had isolated him, creating the perfect emotional void for a killer to emerge. At age 6, Naruto's first kill wasn't planned. A drunk villager cornered him in an alley, knife in hand, hatred burning in his eyes. Demon brat, the man spat, lunging forward. Something unlocked inside Naruto then. Time seemed to slow. The world acquired a purple hue. The man's movements became predictable, telegraphed, almost comical in their sluggishness. Time skip, Naruto whispered instinctively, though he didn't understand the words leaving his mouth. He slipped behind the attacker and, with precision no child should possess, pressed his small fingers against the man's back in 3 precise locations. Vital point strike. The man collapsed, blood pooling from his mouth, his heart ruptured from inside, without a single external wound. Naruto stared at his hands, confused yet fascinated. Something ancient stirred within him. Knowledge that wasn't his own, skills he had never learned. The third Hokage found him there, still staring at his hands. Naruto, the old man began, horror and pity warring in his voice. He tried to kill me, Naruto stated plainly. I stopped him. Hiruzen Sarutobi looked from the dead man to the emotionless child. This wasn't the reaction of a traumatized boy who'd been forced to kill. This was something else, something dangerous. What happened here will remain between us, the Hokage decided, signaling his Anbu to remove the body. But Naruto, I need to know. How did you do this? The boy's empty blue eyes met the Hokage's. I don't know, I just knew how. That night, in a closed council meeting, Hiruzen made a decision that would alter the destiny of the shinobi world. The boy needs guidance, not suppression, not isolation, proper training to channel whatever this is. Danzo leaned forward, his visible eye gleaming with interest. My root program would. No, Hiruzen cut him off. Not your brand of conditioning, Danzo. He needs someone who understands both power and restraint. He turned to a young Anbu captain standing in the corner. Shisui Uchiha, I'm assigning you as Naruto Uzumaki's personal mentor, effective immediately. Shisui's eyes widened behind his mask. Hokage-sama, with all due respect, this isn't a request. Your genjutsu mastery and assassination skills make you ideal. More importantly, your moral compass remains intact despite your abilities. Hiruzen's gaze hardened. The Nine-Tails Jinchūriki just killed a man without touching him. We need to understand what we're dealing with. And so began the training of Konoha's most lethal weapon. Shisui's training was merciless. Not cruel, he was never that, but utterly uncompromising. Again, he commanded as Naruto lay panting in the dirt of their isolated training ground. Your time skip has a tell, a slight tensing before execution. In real combat, that's the difference between success and failure. Naruto rose without complaint, his 7-year-old frame already hardened with lean muscle. Understood, sensei. They trained in seclusion, far from prying eyes. Shisui had quickly realized that Naruto's abilities went beyond anything in shinobi records. The boy could not only skip fractions of a second, effectively teleporting, but could store time itself, creating pockets where enemies became trapped in slow time fields. Time prison, Naruto demonstrated, creating a purple dome around a target dummy. Inside, kunai thrown by Shisui slowed to a crawl, taking nearly a minute to cross 3 feet of space. Incredible, Shisui murmured. Not a genjutsu, not a space-time ninjutsu as we understand it. You're actually manipulating the flow of time itself. Naruto nodded, unsurprised. To him, these abilities felt as natural as breathing. I can feel the seams in time, sensei, the places where it can be folded. Shisui's analytical mind worked furiously. The fourth's flying thunder god required special kunai, anchor points. You need nothing. Space and time are the same thing, Naruto explained, repeating knowledge he somehow possessed. I don't need anchors because I'm not traveling through space. I'm skipping the time between 2 points. By his 8th birthday, Naruto had mastered the basic assassination techniques taught by Shisui and integrated them with his unique time abilities. His improvement rate was beyond prodigious. It was terrifying. Flash Fist Crush! Naruto called out, his fist connecting with a boulder. The rock didn't shatter immediately. Instead, it seemed to implode seconds later, crushed by force delivered through a microscopic time skip directly into its center. Shisui activated his Sharingan, trying to understand. You're not just hitting the surface, you're skipping your strike directly inside solid objects. Precisely. Naruto dusted off his hands. Why fight through defenses when you can bypass them entirely? The young Uchiha felt a chill. In just 2 years, Naruto had developed techniques that made the most feared jutsu in shinobi history look primitive. Naruto, Shisui asked carefully, do you ever wonder where these abilities come from? The boy's expression remained impassive. Does it matter? They're mine now. The night of the Uchiha massacre changed everything. Naruto, now 9, sensed the disturbance immediately. The fabric of time itself seemed to ripple with the deaths of so many powerful shinobi. He time-skipped to Shisui's home, only to find his mentor bleeding from his eyes, having just used his Koto Amatsukami on his best friend Itachi. Sensei. For once, emotion cracked through Naruto's stoic facade. Naruto, Shisui gasped. I failed. Itachi, I tried to stop him, but Danzo took one of my eyes. I used my last Koto Amatsukami to prevent Itachi from massacring the entire clan, but he's still going to kill the leadership tonight. Naruto's mind worked rapidly. We can stop him. My time skip. No, Shisui grasped Naruto's arm. Listen carefully. The Uchiha were planning a coup. Itachi was ordered to eliminate them by Konoha's elders. I've altered his mission parameters with my genjutsu, but he'll still kill those directly involved. This is political, Naruto. Danzo wants my other eye. Understanding dawned on Naruto's face. So we make him think he got it. Shisui nodded. And then I disappear, but first, he pressed his fingers to Naruto's forehead. I'm entrusting you with something. My memories, my techniques, everything I know about the Sharingan and Konoha's darkest secrets. Time storage, Naruto whispered, creating a pocket of suspended time around them. We have hours in here while seconds pass outside. Tell me everything, Sensei. By morning, Konoha was in chaos. The Uchiha clan leadership had been eliminated, Itachi had fled as a missing nin, and Shisui Uchiha was presumed dead. His body allegedly washed away in the Naka River after leaving his remaining eye to his best friend. Only Naruto knew the truth. Shisui was alive, in hiding, and Naruto now possessed knowledge that made him not just Konoha's most dangerous weapon, but potentially its most dangerous enemy. The academy instructors noticed the change immediately. The troublemaking, attention-seeking Naruto, a carefully crafted persona, was gone. In his place sat a quiet, calculating student whose taijutsu demonstrations left training dummies in pieces and opponents in the medical ward. Uzumaki, Iruka called out during a sparring match. "That's enough! This is practice, not combat!" Naruto stepped back from his opponent, a gasping Kiba Inuzuka. "My apologies, Iruka-sensei. I forgot myself." The truth was, he hadn't forgotten anything. He simply didn't care. These children playing at being ninja disgusted him. None of them understood the reality of the shinobi world, the politics, the bloodshed, the necessary evils. The Hokage summoned him that evening. "Naruto," Hiruzen began gently, "the instructors are concerned. Your skills have advanced remarkably, but your methods are concerning." Naruto stood perfectly still, hands clasped behind his back. "I was under the impression that the academy's purpose was to train killers, Hokage-sama." The old man winced. "We train shinobi, Naruto, warriors with a code, protectors of the village." "Pretty words for the same profession," Naruto replied coldly. "Shisui-sensei taught me to be efficient. Efficiency saves lives." "And where is Shisui now?" Hiruzen asked carefully, watching for any reaction. Naruto's face remained impassive. "Dead, according to village records. A tragedy for Konoha." The Hokage's eyes narrowed. This child was hiding something, but even his decades of experience couldn't penetrate the perfect mask Naruto had constructed. "You will graduate next year with your age group," Hiruzen decided. "Despite your abilities, teamwork and social development are essential for a Konoha shinobi." Naruto bowed slightly. "As you wish, Hokage-sama." Inside, he was already calculating. One more year of this charade, then he would have official sanction to kill. One more year before he could begin implementing Shisui's contingency plans. One more year before he could start hunting Danzo and unraveling the corruption at Konoha's core. Time was nothing to someone who could manipulate it at will. The day of team assignments arrived. Naruto sat quietly, observing his so-called peers. None had noticed that his deliberately mediocre academic scores contrasted sharply with his flawless practical demonstrations. None except Shikamaru Nara, whose calculating eyes occasionally flickered toward him with suspicion. "Team 7, Iruka announced. "Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Uzumaki." Interesting, Naruto thought. The last Uchiha loyal to Konoha, the girl with perfect chakra control, and himself, Konoha's secret weapon. Someone had planned this team carefully. Sakura cheered about being with Sasuke while shooting Naruto a disappointed look. Sasuke merely grunted, his focus entirely on his ambition to kill Itachi, an ambition Naruto knew was built on elaborately constructed lies. Their Jonin instructor was late, deliberately so, Naruto recognized. A test of patience. Amateur psychological tactics. When Kakashi Hatake finally arrived, he found 3 very different Genin waiting. Sakura, indignant, Sasuke, brooding, and Naruto, unnervingly still, his eyes tracking Kakashi's every movement like a predator. "My first impression," Kakashi said lazily, "is that you're all very boring. Meet me on the roof." As Sasuke and Sakura headed for the stairs, Naruto simply vanished, reappearing on the roof before Kakashi could even exit through the window. "Time skip," Naruto said quietly as Kakashi emerged, eye widening slightly. "Interesting transportation technique," the Jonin commented casually, though his mind was racing. That wasn't the body flicker. There was no chakra surge, no movement blur, just absence, then presence. Once all were assembled, Kakashi leaned against the railing. "Let's introduce ourselves. Likes, dislikes, dreams for the future." After Sakura's fangirl gushing and Sasuke's vengeance speech, attention turned to Naruto. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like efficiency and silence. I dislike wasted potential and deception. My dream." He paused, his cold blue eyes meeting Kakashi's. "My dream is to reform the shinobi world from its foundation." Kakashi's visible eye narrowed. That wasn't the response of a typical Genin, or even a typical shinobi. It was the declaration of a revolutionary. "Well, that's certainly ambitious," Kakashi commented. "Tomorrow we'll have our first mission, a survival exercise. Oh, and don't eat breakfast, you'll throw up." As the others left, Naruto remained. "Something else, Naruto?" Kakashi asked casually. "You were in Anbu with Itachi Uchiha," Naruto stated flatly. "You know more about that night than you let on." Kakashi's posture shifted subtly. "Battle ready." "Those are dangerous assumptions for a fresh Genin." "Not assumptions. Facts." Naruto's eyes remained locked on Kakashi's. "I respect your service record, Copy Ninja, but understand this. I'm not playing the same game as these children. I'll pass your bell test tomorrow because it serves my purposes, but don't mistake cooperation for submission. Before Kakashi could respond, Naruto vanished again. No hand signs, no chakra flare, just gone. The Jonin immediately created a shadow clone to report to the Hokage. This wasn't the Naruto Uzumaki they had expected. Something had changed dramatically in the boy. Something that made Kakashi's combat instincts scream danger. The bell test began predictably enough. Kakashi appeared late, explained the rules, and began reading his book to project casual indifference. Sasuke and Sakura hid immediately. Naruto simply stood in the open, hands at his sides. "You know," Kakashi said without looking up from his book, "usually ninja try to hide. Hiding from an opponent of your caliber would be pointless," Naruto replied. "Besides, I wanted to ask you something before we begin." "Oh?" Kakashi turned a page. "Your Sharingan eye? Did Obito Uchiha truly give it willingly, or is that just a story you tell yourself?" The book snapped shut. Kakashi's killer intent flared briefly before he controlled it. "That's classified information, Chunin." Naruto smiled thinly. "Just establishing parameters. Now I know your emotional triggers." He vanished. Kakashi immediately uncovered his Sharingan, spinning to track the boy, but there was nothing to track. No chakra trail, no displacement of air, nothing. Time skip. The whisper came from everywhere and nowhere. Kakashi felt fingers brush his hip, where the bells had been. He looked down to find them gone. "Looking for these?" Naruto stood 20 feet away, bells dangling from his fingers. "Flash fist crush!" Kakashi substituted just in time as the ground where he'd stood imploded, creating a perfectly circular crater 3 feet deep. "Interesting jutsu," Kakashi called out, mind racing. That wasn't any technique he recognized, and his Sharingan hadn't copied it. But the test isn't just about getting the bells. "I know." Naruto set the bells on a nearby stump. "It's about teamwork. The bells are misdirection. 2 bells, 3 Chunin, designed to create conflict. Basic psychological manipulation." From the trees, Sasuke and Sakura were watching with wide eyes. "However," Naruto continued, "I have no interest in artificially manufactured tests. Either we pass as a team or we don't. My abilities make the bell retrieval trivial, as you've seen." Kakashi appeared behind Naruto in a blur of speed, kunai at the boy's throat. "Don't get cocky, Chunin. You may have some unusual skills, but time prison." A purple dome engulfed them both. Kakashi found his movement slowed to a crawl, his kunai taking seconds to move millimeters. Naruto stepped casually away from the blade, walking normally within the distorted time field. "The difference between us, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto explained calmly, "is that I'm not trying to defeat you. If I were, you would already be dead. Vital point strikes require minimal movement and are impossible to block when delivered through a time skip." He released the technique, and Kakashi staggered slightly as time normalized. "Sasuke, Sakura," Naruto called out. "Come take a bell. Kakashi-sensei won't stop you." His teammates emerged cautiously. Sasuke's eyes burned with questions and jealousy, while Sakura looked simply terrified. "How did you do that?" Sasuke demanded. "What kind of jutsu was that?" "Not jutsu," Naruto corrected. "Just ability. Take the bells." Kakashi observed silently as his cute little Chunin team awkwardly claimed their prizes, his mind cataloging everything for his report to the Hokage. Naruto Uzumaki wasn't just dangerous, he was a complete unknown quantity with abilities that defied shinobi classification. "Congratulations," Kakashi finally said. "You passed. Team 7 is officially formed." Naruto nodded once, as if the outcome had never been in doubt. "When do we begin real missions?" "I have no interest in D ranks." "You'll do D ranks like every other Chunin team," Kakashi replied firmly. "Consider it team building." The flash of cold calculation in Naruto's eyes told Kakashi the boy was already planning ways around this obstacle. "What have we created?" Kakashi wondered as he watched his team. "And more importantly, can we control it if necessary?" 2 months of D-rank missions tested Naruto's patience more than any training ever had. Chasing cats, painting fences, weeding gardens. It was all meaningless busy work designed to build teamwork among normal Chunin. Team 7's dynamic was anything but normal. Sasuke alternated between demanding Naruto teach him his techniques and brooding in silent jealousy. Sakura had initially feared Naruto, then gradually developed a wary respect as she realized he treated her with more courtesy than Sasuke ever did. Kakashi watched it all, reporting regularly to the Hokage about Naruto's abilities. The boy never showed everything, just enough to complete missions with frightening efficiency. I want a real mission, Naruto finally stated during their team meeting. Not asked, stated as if it were already decided. These D ranks are wasting everyone's potential. Sasuke immediately backed him. For once I agree with the Dobe, we're ready for more. Kakashi sighed. The mission assignment protocol is flexible at Jonin discretion, Naruto interrupted. You've had 2 months to evaluate our capabilities. Either recommend us for a C rank or I'll begin operating independently. The threat hung in the air. Kakashi knew it wasn't empty. I'll speak with the Hokage, he conceded. The C rank mission to Wave Country was approved the next day. A simple escort mission for a bridge builder named Tazuna, perfect for rookie Chunin to gain field experience. Or it would have been, if not for the demon brothers who attacked on the road. Kakashi prepared to intervene when the assassins emerged from their puddle disguise, but Naruto moved first. Time skip. He vanished, reappearing between the 2 Chunin-level missing nin. His hands moved in precise strikes. Vital point strike. Both men collapsed, blood trickling from their mouths, their hearts stopped instantly by the precise application of force to key pressure points. Threat eliminated, Naruto announced calmly, wiping his hands on a cloth. Tazuna-san, it seems you misrepresented the mission parameters. These were Chunin-level missing nin from Kirigakure, targeting you specifically. The bridge builder paled, looking from the dead assassins to the emotionless child who had killed them without hesitation. I couldn't afford a B rank, Tazuna stammered. Gato's strangling our country. The bridge is our only hope. Kakashi stepped forward. This mission is now beyond C rank parameters. We should return to the village. Unnecessary, Naruto cut in. The mission difficulty is irrelevant. We will complete the escort as contracted. Hagal, that's not your decision to make, Naruto, Kakashi said sharply. Then put it to a vote, Naruto suggested. Sasuke seeks combat experience. Sakura won't abandon someone in need. The logical choice is to continue. Sasuke immediately agreed, eager to prove himself. Sakura, after a moment's hesitation, nodded as well. Kakashi concealed his frustration. This wasn't how a Chunin team was supposed to function, with the Chunin making tactical decisions and the Jonin being outmaneuvered. Very well, he conceded. But from now on, I lead. No independent action without authorization. Naruto inclined his head slightly, a gesture that acknowledged the words without promising obedience. As they continued toward Wave Country, Kakashi couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't leading this team at all. He was simply being allowed to believe he was. The encounter with Zabuza Momochi confirmed his worst fears. When the demon of the mist attacked, creating a thick fog and immobilizing Kakashi in a water prison, Naruto didn't even wait for orders. Sasuke, Sakura, protect Tazuna, he commanded. I'll handle Zabuza. Don't be stupid, Kakashi shouted from his watery prison. He's a Jonin-level missing nin. Run! Naruto walked calmly toward the water where Zabuza stood, maintaining the water prison with one hand while his water clone approached the Chunin. Brave little Chunin, Zabuza's clone taunted. Coming to die so young, time skip. Naruto vanished, reappearing directly beside the real Zabuza on the water's surface. The missing nin's eyes widened in shock. Flash fist crush! The punch connected with Zabuza's side, shattering ribs and rupturing internal organs. The swordsman coughed blood, releasing the water prison as he staggered. What the hell? Zabuza gasped, swinging his massive sword desperately. Time prison. The purple dome engulfed Zabuza, slowing his movements to a crawl. Naruto walked around him casually, examining the fearsome missing nin like a curious specimen. Zabuza Momochi, A rank in the bingo book, known as the Demon of the Mist for killing over 100 Academy students before you were even a Chunin. Naruto recited the facts dispassionately. Yet your demonic reputation is built on killing children. Hardly impressive. Outside the dome, Kakashi had regained his footing on the water, staring in disbelief at what was unfolding. Sasuke and Sakura watched from shore, equally stunned. Your heart rate is elevated, blood pressure dropping from internal bleeding. You have approximately 3 minutes before unconsciousness, 7 before death. Naruto continued his clinical assessment. Unless you provide valuable intelligence. Gato's location, his operation details, his financial networks. Inside the slow time field, Zabuza tried to speak, each word taking agonizing seconds to form. Fuck you, Naruto sighed. Disappointing, but predictable. He released the time prison, allowing normal time to resume. Zabuza collapsed to his knees on the water's surface, blood pooling around him. Before Naruto could deliver a final strike, Senbon needles struck Zabuza's neck, apparently killing him instantly. A masked hunter nin appeared on a nearby tree branch. "Thank you for weakening him," the masked figure said. "I've been tracking Zabuza for weeks." Naruto's eyes narrowed. Hunter nin protocol requires immediate disposal of the body on site. You intend to take him away. Conclusion: you are Zabuza's accomplice. The hunter nin stiffened. Time skip. Naruto vanished, reappearing behind the masked shinobi with a kunai at their throat. "Identify yourself or die." "Naruto, stand down," Kakashi ordered, finally recovering from his shock. "This individual is not a Kiri hunter nin," Naruto stated flatly. "They intended to rescue Zabuza. Logical response is elimination." The masked nin trembled. "Please, I'm just following orders." "As am I," Naruto replied coldly, pressing the kunai deeper. "Naruto!" Kakashi's voice cracked like a whip. "That's a direct order from your superior officer. Stand down." For a moment, it seemed Naruto might ignore the command. Then slowly, he lowered the kunai. "Your compassion is a weakness they will exploit," he told Kakashi before addressing the fake hunter nin. "Take him and go. When we meet again, there won't be any intervention." The masked shinobi quickly collected Zabuza's body and vanished in a swirl of mist. Kakashi approached Naruto, anger evident despite his mask. "When we reach Tazuna's house, you and I are going to have a serious discussion about chain of command and mission parameters." Naruto met his gaze evenly. "Zabuza will recover within a week. The false hunter nin used Senbon to induce a death-like state. We should prepare accordingly." Sasuke and Sakura remained silent, processing what they'd witnessed. Their teammate had just fought a Jonin-level missing nin to a standstill and would have killed him if not for intervention. This wasn't the dead last Naruto from the academy. This was something else entirely. Tazuna's home became a tense planning center. Kakashi, still recovering from chakra exhaustion, had indeed had his discussion with Naruto, though it was less a reprimand and more a negotiation between equals. "Your abilities are extraordinary," Kakashi acknowledged, "but your disregard for command structure endangers the team. We operate as a unit, not as independent agents." Naruto sat perfectly still, hands folded in his lap. The most efficient solution was direct intervention. Zabuza was distracted, maintaining the water prison. My abilities made me the logical choice for attack. "That's not the point," Kakashi insisted. "The point is that you didn't even try to coordinate. You made a unilateral decision in a team environment." "Would you have authorized my approach if I had asked?" Naruto countered. Kakashi's silence was answer enough. "As I suspected." Naruto rose. "You operate within conventional shinobi parameters. I do not. This creates a strategic disconnect that hinders mission efficiency." "You're still a genin, Naruto," Kakashi reminded him, "regardless of your abilities. A technicality, one that serves Konoha's purposes, not mine." Naruto moved toward the door. "Zabuza will attack again in approximately 6 days, once his accomplice has healed his injuries. I'll use that time to eliminate Gato and dismantle his operation. This addresses the root cause rather than the symptom." Kakashi stood quickly. "That's not our mission. Our mission is to protect the bridge builder until his project is complete," Naruto corrected. "Removing the threat to his life entirely is the most efficient path to that outcome." "I forbid independent action," Kakashi stated firmly. Naruto paused at the doorway. "I understand your position, Kakashi-sensei. I'll begin training with Sasuke and Sakura tomorrow as you requested." The compliance seemed too easy, but Kakashi had no choice but to accept it. He couldn't physically restrain Naruto. That much had become clear. Training proceeded as promised. Kakashi taught Sasuke and Sakura tree-walking techniques, while Naruto demonstrated flawless chakra control from the start. "How did you learn this already?" Sakura asked as Naruto stood horizontally on a tree trunk. "Chakra is simply energy," Naruto explained. "Control comes from understanding its flow and timing." He stepped down. "Your control is naturally excellent, Sakura. You could likely master water walking by tomorrow." The praise, matter of fact rather than fawning, made Sakura blush slightly. "You really think so?" "I don't offer pointless compliments," Naruto replied. "Your chakra control surpasses most jonin. The limitation is your reserve capacity, which can be systematically increased." Sasuke approached, irritation evident. Teach me your time techniques. Naruto shook his head. Impossible. They're not jutsu that can be taught or copied. They're inherent abilities. Bullshit, Sasuke spat. Everything can be learned or copied. Your Sharingan copies chakra manipulation patterns, Naruto explained patiently. My abilities don't use chakra in the conventional sense. They manipulate the fabric of time itself. Sasuke's fists clenched. Then what good is training with you? I can teach you to maximize your existing potential, Naruto offered. Your taijutsu has inefficiencies. Your fire techniques waste chakra. These can be optimized. It wasn't what Sasuke wanted, but it was better than nothing. The training continued under Kakashi's watchful eye throughout the day. That night, while everyone slept, Naruto sat in perfect meditation, monitoring the subtle shifts in the time field around him. When the house had been still for exactly 2 hours, he opened his eyes. Time skip. He vanished from his futon, reappearing at Gado's headquarters miles away. Security was pathetic. Typical thugs with minimal training, relying on numbers rather than skill. Naruto moved through the compound like a ghost, not bothering with time skip for such trivial obstacles. Basic assassination techniques were sufficient. He located Gado's office and slipped inside, finding the shipping magnate working late, counting profits. Who the hell are you? Gado demanded, reaching for an alarm button. Time prison. The purple dome enveloped the room, freezing Gado in mid-motion. Gado, shipping magnate, drug trafficker, human trafficker, orchestrator of economic terrorism against Wave Country. Naruto recited the crimes dispassionately as he moved through the slow time field. Your operation ends tonight. He spent the next subjective hour, mere seconds outside the field, systematically extracting information from the terrified businessman. Banking details, smuggling routes, blackmail material on corrupt officials, all committed to perfect memory. Please, Gado begged when Naruto finally allowed him to speak normally. I can pay you, millions, whatever you want. I don't want your money, Naruto replied. Vital point strike. His fingers pressed precisely against Gado's chest, stopping his heart instantly. For the next 3 hours, Naruto methodically worked through the compound, eliminating every guard, collecting incriminating documents, and arranging the bodies in the central courtyard. By morning, Wave Country would discover that its oppressor and his entire operation had been dismantled overnight by an unknown assailant. He returned to Tazuna's house before dawn, slipping back into his futon without disturbing his teammates. Kakashi, however, was waiting, sitting in the corner of the room. Where were you, Naruto? He asked quietly. Eliminating future complications, Naruto answered honestly. Gado is dead. His operation dismantled. His financial assets are being redirected to Wave Country's reconstruction fund as we speak. Kakashi closed his visible eye briefly. You directly disobeyed orders. I completed the mission in the most efficient manner possible, Naruto countered. Zabuza has no employer now. The threat to the bridge builder is neutralized. Mission accomplished. That's not how Konoha operates, Kakashi insisted. Perhaps Konoha's operational parameters need revision, Naruto suggested. The outcome benefits all parties except those who profited from corruption and suffering. Kakashi had no effective counter to that logic. The Hokage will hear about this. I expect nothing less, Naruto replied. Now, shall we inform the team that their mission has been simplified considerably? News of Gado's death spread through Wave Country by mid-morning. The compound had been found with all 57 of his men arranged in the courtyard, each killed with surgical precision. Gado himself had been displayed prominently, a sign around his neck listing his crimes. No one connected the professional massacre with the blonde Genin eating breakfast at Tazuna's table. This changes everything, Tazuna exclaimed after hearing the news. Without Gado, we can complete the bridge without opposition. Tsunami, his daughter, looked troubled. But who could have done such a thing, killing so many people in one night? Someone with a sense of justice, Tazuna declared. A hero. Naruto continued eating silently, while Kakashi watched him with a mixture of resignation and concern. Later that day, as expected, Zabuza's accomplice approached the house alone, without mask or weapons. Zabuza-san is gone, the beautiful teenager announced. When we learned Gado was dead, he took what payment we had already received and left Wave Country. Our contract is concluded. Haku, Naruto addressed the surprised team. Ice Release Kekkei Genkai, last survivor of the Yuki clan after Kirigakure's bloodline purges. Haku stiffened. How do you know this? Information gathering is a fundamental skill, Naruto replied. Your options are limited now. Kirigakure would execute you for your bloodline. Most villages would imprison you for your association with Zabuza. What are you suggesting? Haku asked warily. Naruto glanced at Kakashi, who was listening intently. Konoha has no bloodline prejudice. Your skills would be valuable. Kakashi-sensei could arrange probationary asylum. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at being volunteered but didn't object. Haku's Kekkei Genkai was indeed valuable, and rehabilitation of missing nin was not unprecedented. I will consider it, Haku said finally. Thank you for the offer. After Haku departed, Sasuke confronted Naruto. You knew about the ice release? How? Research, observation, deduction. Naruto shrugged. The Senbon placement required perfect anatomical knowledge. The moisture gathering around the fake hunter nin indicated water affinity. Kirigakure has documented cases of ice release bloodlines being purged. The logical conclusion was obvious. Sasuke's frustration was palpable. You see everything as a puzzle to solve, don't you? People, situations, everything. Efficiency requires accurate analysis, Naruto confirmed. Is there another approach you'd recommend? Sasuke had no answer. The bridge was completed 2 weeks later without further incident. The grateful citizens named it the Great Naruto Bridge, though not for the genin. They'd chosen the name to mean Maelstrom of Change, unaware of how appropriate it was. Team 7 returned to Konoha with mission accomplished, a potential bloodline recruit for the village, and serious questions about Naruto's conduct that would need addressing. The Hokage listened to Kakashi's full report in private, his aged face growing increasingly troubled. So he eliminated Gato and his entire operation single-handedly, without authorization, Hiruzen summarized. And you believe he could have killed Zabuza if he'd wanted to? Without question, Kakashi confirmed. His abilities exceed anything I've encountered, Hokage-sama. The time manipulation isn't jinjutsu or ninjutsu. It's something else entirely. My Sharingan can't copy or even fully perceive it. Hiruzen packed his pipe thoughtfully. And his personality? Your assessment? Clinical, detached, focused on efficiency above all else. Kakashi chose his words carefully. He's not malicious or power-hungry like Orochimaru. He's more like a perfect killing machine that's developed its own ethical framework. He eliminates threats permanently, but doesn't cause unnecessary suffering. The perfect assassin, Hiruzen murmured. Shisui's training certainly left its mark. With respect, Hokage-sama, this goes beyond training, Kakashi insisted. These abilities and this personality, they're not something that could be taught. It's as if Naruto is someone else entirely. The Hokage lit his pipe, his eyes distant with memory. There are things about Naruto Uzumaki that even I don't fully understand, Kakashi. The seal the Fourth used, it was complex beyond even my comprehension. You think this is related to the Nine Tails? Kakashi asked. I think we must consider all possibilities, Hiruzen replied carefully. Continue with your team as normal. Keep Naruto engaged with appropriate missions. I'll consult with Jiraiya when he returns to the village. What neither of them realized was that their conversation was being observed, not through any conventional means, but through a minute time skip pocket that Naruto had placed in the office earlier that day, allowing him to perceive events in a location he'd previously visited. Knowledge was power, after all. And Naruto was collecting as much of it as possible. Team 7's reputation grew rapidly after the Wave mission. Despite officially being genin, they began receiving C-rank missions regularly, each completed with ruthless efficiency under Naruto's subtle guidance. Sasuke had grudgingly come to respect his teammates' abilities, though jealousy still burned beneath the surface. Sakura had blossomed under Naruto's matter-of-fact instruction, developing her chakra reserves and beginning medical training that suited her perfect control. Kakashi maintained the pretense of leadership while recognizing the reality. Naruto was the team's true tactical commander. The Jonin had adapted his approach, positioning himself more as an advisor and limiting his direct orders to those Naruto would likely follow anyway. When the Chunin exam nominations came, Kakashi entered Team 7 without hesitation. The first stage is tomorrow, he informed them at their training ground. It's likely to be an intelligence-gathering exercise, followed by a survival stage and culminating in tournament-style combat. Naruto nodded. Logical progression, assessment of information acquisition, field survival, and direct combat capabilities. Precisely. Kakashi eye smiled. Any questions? Who's participating that might pose a challenge? Sasuke asked immediately. Gaara of the Sand, Jinchūriki of the One Tail. Naruto answered before Kakashi could. Rock Lee, taijutsu specialist under Might Guy. Neji Hyuga, prodigy of the Branch House, potentially others with hidden capabilities. Kakashi stared at him. How do you know the Sand is sending their jinchūriki? Information gathering is fundamental to mission success, Naruto replied, echoing his earlier statement to Haku. I make it my business to know potential adversaries. What he didn't mention was how he gathered this information, through strategic time skips into secure areas of the Hokage Tower, reading classified reports, and occasionally observing foreign teams directly by freezing time around himself. Well, yes, Kakashi recovered. Those would be the notable participants. Remember, the objective is promotion, not just victory. Demonstrate Chunin-level decision-making. Naruto's lips curved in the barest hint of a smile. Understood, Sensei. The written exam under Ibiki Morino proceeded exactly as Naruto had anticipated. He answered all questions immediately, then subtly assisted Sakura by ensuring she could see his paper. Sakura, in turn, developed a tapping code to help Sasuke. When Ibiki revealed the true purpose of the test, willingness to take risks for information, Naruto merely nodded in confirmation of his analysis. The second examiner, Anko Mitarashi, crashed through the window with typical dramatics, announcing the Forest of Death challenge. 5 days to obtain both scrolls and reach the central tower, she explained with sadistic glee. Anything goes, except opening the scrolls before arrival. Team 7 received their Heaven Scroll and prepared at their assigned gate. Strategy? Sasuke asked as they waited for the signal. Immediate offensive action, Naruto replied. Most teams will establish perimeters and conduct reconnaissance first. We'll exploit that predictability by striking quickly. Which team? Sakura asked, readying her equipment. Naruto pointed subtly toward the Aminin nearby. They've been watching us since the first exam, overconfident, underestimating us due to our age, perfect first targets. The gates opened, and the teams rushed into the forest. Team 7 moved with precision, Naruto leading them directly into the path of the Ame team he'd identified. The ambush was perfectly executed. Sasuke engaged the leader with his newly developed fire techniques, Sakura trapped the second with a genjutsu Kakashi had taught her, and Naruto simply appeared behind the third. Time skip, vital point strike. The Eminem collapsed without a sound, paralyzed but conscious. Earth Scroll acquired, Naruto announced, holding up their prize. Now direct route to the tower. Any team we encounter is a potential threat to mission completion. Sasuke frowned. The exam just started. We could hunt more teams, eliminate competition. Unnecessary risk, Naruto countered. Mission parameters require only 2 scrolls and tower arrival. Additional combat increases injury probability and chakra expenditure before the third stage. His logic was impeccable, and they proceeded directly toward the tower. Along the way, they sensed an enormous chakra spike, malevolent and oppressive. What is that? Sakura whispered, trembling slightly. Gaara, Naruto identified immediately. The one-tailed chakra has a distinctive signature. He's killing someone. Should we avoid him? Sakura asked hopefully. Naruto nodded. For now. His instability makes him unpredictable. We'll encounter him in the third stage under more controlled conditions. They altered course slightly, but fate had other plans. A massive wind jutsu tore through the forest, separating the team and sending Naruto flying in one direction, while Sasuke and Sakura were blown in another. When Naruto recovered, he immediately assessed the situation. The jutsu's power level indicated a Jonin-level attacker. Target, likely Sasuke, given the direction of the blast. Logical response, immediate regrouping. Time skip. He vanished, reappearing near Sasuke and Sakura, who were now facing a disturbing grassnin with an impossibly long tongue. My, the strange ninja hissed. What an interesting technique. Not the Hiraishin, yet similar. Naruto analyzed the opponent instantly. The chakra levels were wrong, far too high for a Genin or even a Jonin. The body language suggested complete confidence despite facing 3 opponents. Conclusion: S-rank threat disguised. Sasuke, Sakura, retreat immediately, Naruto ordered. This is not a Chunin or Chunin. The grass nin laughed, the sound chilling. Clever boy, but no one's going anywhere. I've come for the Uchiha. Orochimaru, Naruto stated flatly, recognizing the chakra signature from intelligence reports he'd read in the Hokage's office. S-rank missing nin, Konoha traitor, human experimenter. The disguised Sanin's eyes widened slightly. You are well informed for a Chunin. The Nine Tails container, yes? Perhaps I should take you as well. Time prison. The purple dome expanded, but Orochimaru moved with incredible speed, escaping its perimeter before it fully formed. Fascinating, the Sanin exclaimed. Time manipulation? No wonder Sasuke-kun's been overshadowed. Naruto didn't waste words on further dialogue. Flash fist crush! He appeared directly in front of Orochimaru, fist aimed at the Sanin's chest. To Naruto's surprise, Orochimaru caught his wrist, though the impact still drove the missing nin back several feet. Such power in one so young, Orochimaru hissed, his disguise beginning to peel away from the force of the blow. But you're a century too early to challenge me, boy. Naruto phased out of the Sanin's grip with another time skip, reappearing beside his teammates. Sasuke, Sakura, this opponent is beyond our current capabilities. Strategic withdrawal is our only option. Running won't save you, Orochimaru taunted, performing hand seals with blinding speed. 5-element seal. His fingers shot toward Naruto's stomach, aiming to disrupt the Nine-Tails seal, but connected with nothing as Naruto executed another time skip. Invisible energy blast. From multiple angles, concentrated bursts of purple energy struck Orochimaru, who twisted unnaturally to avoid them, his body seeming to flow like liquid. You're just full of surprises, the Sanin remarked, sounding genuinely delighted. But I came for Sasuke-kun, and I will have him. His neck suddenly extended, stretching impossibly as his fangs aimed for Sasuke's neck. Time skip! Naruto appeared between them, taking the bite on his shoulder instead. Orochimaru's teeth sank deep, but instead of injecting the cursed seal as intended, the Sanin found himself biting into a pocket of stored time. Time storage, Naruto announced as Orochimaru recoiled, spitting purple energy. Your cursed seal technique has been intercepted and neutralized. The Sanin's face contorted with rage and pain as the time energy disrupted his chakra network. What have you done, boy? Stored your technique for future analysis. Now wait, Naruto replied calmly, though sweat beaded on his forehead from the effort. Now leave, or I'll expand the time disruption throughout your entire chakra system. For a moment, it seemed Orochimaru might continue the attack despite the injury. Then, grudgingly, he stepped back. This isn't over, he promised, his eyes burning with hatred and fascination. I'll be watching your progress with great interest, Naruto-kun. Both of you. He sank into the tree branch, disappearing. Sasuke turned to Naruto, shock evident. You drove off an S-rank missing nin. Temporarily, Naruto corrected, examining his shoulder where the time energy was already healing the bite wound. He retreated for strategic reasons, not because I overpowered him. You saved me, Sasuke acknowledged, the words clearly difficult for his pride. Team preservation was the logical priority, Naruto replied simply. They continued to the tower without further incident, Sawas arriving on the first day, among the fastest completions in exam history. The preliminary matches that followed, due to the unusually high number of passing teams, provided Naruto his first opportunity to display his abilities before a wider audience. His opponent, a sound genin named Dosu, relied on sound wave attacks channeled through a metal gauntlet. A potentially troublesome opponent for most, but utterly outmatched against Naruto. Begin, the proctor Hayate called before coughing into his hand. Dosu charged immediately, his gauntlet ready to unleash devastating sound waves. You're finished, Leaf Brat. Time skip. Naruto vanished from sight, reappearing behind Dosu. The sound nin began to turn, but too late. Flash fist crush! The precise strike to Dosu's back sent him flying across the arena, crashing into the wall with such force that his gauntlet shattered. Before he could recover, Naruto was upon him again. Vital point strike. His fingers jabbed specific points on Dosu's arms and legs, instantly paralyzing him without causing permanent damage. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki, Hayate announced as medics rushed to collect the immobilized sound nin. The other competitors stared in shock at the effortless victory. Even the Jonin instructors were murmuring among themselves, clearly disturbed by the display of skill from a genin. Gaara's eyes fixed on Naruto with murderous intensity. "Mother wants your blood," he whispered, just loud enough for those nearby to hear. Naruto met his gaze impassively. "Your demon will be disappointed." The final tournament matchups were announced, with Naruto scheduled to face Neji Hyuga in the first round, while Sasuke would fight Gaara. As they left the tower, Kakashi pulled Naruto aside. "The Hokage wants to see you, immediately." The summons was expected. Naruto had revealed too much during the encounter with Orochimaru, abilities that couldn't be easily explained away. In the Hokage's office, he found not only Hiruzen, but also a white-haired man he recognized from intelligence files as Jiraiya of the Sannin. "Naruto," the Hokage began gravely, "I think it's time we had a frank discussion about your abilities." "What would you like to know, Hokage-sama?" Naruto asked, standing at perfect attention. "Let's start with how you recognized Orochimaru immediately," Hiruzen suggested, "and perhaps how you knew about his experiments." "Information gathering," Naruto replied smoothly. "I've studied the bingo book thoroughly. As for his experiments, that's common knowledge among those who research Konoha's history." "And your time manipulation abilities?" Jiraiya interjected. "Those definitely aren't in any history book I've read." Naruto turned slightly to face him. "Jiraiya of the Sannin, Toad Sage, Spy Master of Konoha, author of the Icha Icha series." "My reputation precedes me," Jiraiya grinned, though his eyes remained serious. "To answer your question, my abilities manifested gradually after I began training with Shisui Uchiha," Naruto explained. "They appear to be unique Kekkei Genkai, possibly related to my status as a jinchūriki." It wasn't the full truth, but it was close enough to be believable. "We'd like to run some tests," the Hokage said carefully, "to better understand the nature of these abilities." "Of course," Naruto agreed readily. "Though I should mention that previous medical examinations have revealed nothing unusual in my chakra pathways or physical structure." Jiraiya stepped closer, examining Naruto with narrowed eyes. "The seal appears intact and functioning normally. No obvious leakage of the Nine-Tails chakra." "Because these abilities don't draw on the Nine-Tails," Naruto stated. "They're entirely separate." The two older shinobi exchanged glances, clearly uncertain how to proceed. "Naruto," Hiruzen finally said, "I want you to train with Jiraiya until the final exam. He's one of our foremost seal experts and can help you refine your control." The real purpose was obvious. Keep Naruto under observation by someone powerful enough to potentially contain him if necessary. "As you wish, Hokage-sama," Naruto bowed slightly. "When do we begin?" Training with Jiraiya proved educational for both parties. The Toad Sage was clearly attempting to evaluate Naruto's abilities while revealing as little as possible about his own techniques. "Let's see this time skip of yours in action," Jiraiya suggested on their first day at a remote training ground. "How far can you jump in space?" "Distance is irrelevant," Naruto explained. "I don't move through space. I skip the time between 2 points. The limitation is line of sight and familiarity with the destination." To demonstrate, he vanished and reappeared at various points around the training ground in rapid succession. "Impressive," Jiraiya acknowledged. "And the time prison? How does that work?" "I create a localized field where time flows at a different rate," Naruto explained. "Inside the field, everything moves approximately 1/100th normal speed." Jiraiya's brow furrowed. "That shouldn't be possible with chakra manipulation alone." "It isn't," Naruto confirmed. "As I explained to the Hokage, these abilities appear to be a unique Kekkei Genkai." The Sannin tried a different approach. "Let's test your limits. How many time skips can you perform in succession?" Naruto disappeared and reappeared 30 times in the span of 5 seconds, moving in a complex pattern around the training ground. "I've never reached a limit," he stated upon completion. "There's no chakra drain associated with the technique." This clearly disturbed Jiraiya, though he hid it well. "What about the Nine-Tails? Have you ever communicated with it?" "No," Naruto replied truthfully. "Its chakra remains sealed as intended." Throughout the month of training, Jiraiya attempted to teach Naruto the summoning jutsu, ostensibly to provide him with allies in combat. Naruto mastered the technique immediately, but discovered something unexpected. The Toads refused his contract. "Something ain't right about you, kid," Gamabunta declared after being summoned. "You smell wrong, not like a normal human." Jiraiya looked troubled. What do you mean, wrong? The massive Toad Chief inhaled deeply. Can't explain it exactly. It's like he exists outside of time somehow. Makes my skin crawl. He turned to Naruto directly. No offense, kid, but the Toad contract won't work for you. We need summoners who are fully anchored in the natural world. After Gamabunta disappeared, Jiraiya studied Naruto with new concern. That's never happened before. Unsurprising, Naruto replied calmly. My time manipulation likely creates a dissonance with natural energy as the Toads perceive it. The day before the final exam, Jiraiya finally asked the question that had clearly been bothering him from the start. Naruto, who are you? Really? The young shinobi looked at him impassively. I am Naruto Uzumaki, Chunin of Konoha Gakure. But you're not just that, are you? Jiraiya pressed. Your abilities, your personality, they don't align with what we know about jinchūriki or any known Kekkei Genkai. Perhaps your knowledge is simply incomplete, Naruto suggested. Jiraiya shook his head. I've traveled the world for decades. I've studied forbidden jutsu and ancient techniques. Nothing explains what you can do. Naruto considered his options carefully. Partial truth would serve best here. I have memories, he admitted finally. Knowledge that isn't mine. Skills I never learned. They've been there for as long as I can remember, but became clearer after I began training with Shisui-sensei. Memories of what? Jiraiya asked, tensing slightly. Another life, another existence. Naruto met the Sanin's gaze steadily. I can manipulate time because I exist partially outside it. That's all I know. It wasn't the complete truth, but it was close enough. The memories of Hit, the legendary assassin from another universe, had been with Naruto since birth. A cosmic accident. A soul reincarnated where it shouldn't have been. Jiraiya didn't seem entirely satisfied with the answer, but recognized he wouldn't get more. The final exam is tomorrow. Be careful, Naruto. I have intelligence suggesting Orochimaru may attempt something during the tournament. Logical, Naruto nodded. Large gatherings of important officials present optimal targeting opportunities. The stadium was packed for the Chunin Exam finals. Dignitaries from various nations, including the Kazekage, were present in the VIP boxes alongside the Hokage. Naruto's match against Neji Hyuga was scheduled first, a deliberate decision by the organizers to showcase two of Konoha's most promising genin. You face Destiny today, Neji declared as they squared off in the arena. And Destiny has determined that you will lose to me. Destiny is merely the intersection of probability and choice, Naruto replied calmly. Your gentle fist is formidable but relies on physical contact, a significant disadvantage against my abilities. Neji activated his Byakugan, the veins around his eyes bulging. These eyes see everything. You cannot hide from them. Begin, the proctor announced. Neji immediately settled into the gentle fist stance, while Naruto simply stood relaxed, hands at his sides. Time skip. Naruto vanished, reappearing behind Neji. The Hyuga prodigy spun instantly, his 360-degree vision having tracked the movement. 8 trigrams palm rotation, Neji called. Spinning rapidly to create a dome of chakra, Naruto phased backward, avoiding the defensive technique. Your Byakugan tracked my movement. Impressive. But can it track this? He vanished again, but this time, instead of reappearing immediately, he created multiple time skip pockets around the arena, jumping between them so rapidly that he appeared to be in multiple places simultaneously. In the stands, Hiyashi Hyuga leaned forward in shock. Impossible, he murmured. The Byakugan should be able to track him, but... Neji was spinning frantically, trying to locate his opponent among the after images. Show yourself and fight honorably. Time prison. The purple dome enveloped Neji, slowing his movements to a crawl. Naruto walked calmly into the field, circling his immobilized opponent. The gentle fist style relies on precise timing, Naruto explained to the audience as much as to Neji. When time itself is distorted, that precision becomes meaningless. He released the technique, allowing Neji to move normally again. The Hyuga immediately lunged forward, striking with perfect precision, only to hit empty air as Naruto executed another time skip. Flash Fist Crush! The strike connected with Neji's back, sending him tumbling across the arena. Before he could recover, Naruto was upon him again. Vital Point Strike. His fingers jabbed specific points on Neji's arms, not blocking chakra as the gentle fist would, but temporarily paralyzing the nerves themselves. Neji struggled to stand, his arms hanging uselessly. What did you do to me? Targeted the brachial plexus nerve cluster, Naruto explained clinically. Temporary paralysis. Your arms will recover in approximately 20 minutes. The Hyuga prodigy stared in disbelief. You could have ended this instantly. Why drag it out? To demonstrate the futility of your fatalistic philosophy, Naruto replied. Destiny didn't defeat you today. Superior technique and tactical analysis did. He turned to the proctor. He can no longer continue effectively. Call the match. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki, the announcement came, met with stunned silence before applause slowly built. In the stands, shinobi and civilians alike were whispering in amazement. The dead last from the academy had just systematically dismantled the Hyuga prodigy without receiving a single hit. As Naruto walked back to the competitor's box, he noted several ambush-shifting positions around the stadium. Security was being subtly enhanced. They were expecting trouble. Sasuke's match against Gaara was scheduled next, but the Uchiha hadn't arrived yet. After a brief delay, the proctor announced they would move to the next match and return to Sasuke's when he appeared. Throughout the subsequent matches, Naruto observed the stadium carefully, noting the increasing tension among the disguised Anbu. Something was coming. When Sasuke finally arrived with Kakashi, the crowd roared with excitement. The last loyal Uchiha against the fearsome jinchūriki was the match everyone had been waiting for. The fight began spectacularly, with Sasuke demonstrating new speed clearly modeled after Rock Lee's techniques. His Sharingan tracked Gaara's sand defenses effectively, and he even managed to penetrate them with a Chidori taught by Kakashi. But when Gaara's blood was drawn, everything changed. The Sand Nin began transforming, his killing intent flooding the stadium as partial manifestations of the One Tail appeared on his body. That's when the Genjutsu hit. Feathers seemed to fall from the sky as a powerful sleep technique was cast over the civilian audience. Explosions erupted at the village walls, and disguised sand and sound ninja revealed themselves throughout the stadium. The invasion had begun. Naruto immediately dispelled the Genjutsu affecting his teammates. Sakura, protect the civilians. Sasuke, disengage from Gaara. He's losing control of his Biju. In the Kage box, the false Kazekage had revealed himself as Orochimaru, taking the third Hokage hostage and establishing a barrier that prevented interference. Naruto assessed the situation rapidly. Primary threats, invading forces at the walls, Orochimaru confronting the Hokage, and Gaara's imminent full transformation. Logical response: prioritize the most immediate danger to civilian population. Time skip. He appeared beside Sasuke, who was pursuing the fleeing Gaara and his siblings. Sasuke, we need to contain Gaara before he fully transforms, Naruto stated. His Biju would devastate the village. The Uchiha nodded grimly. My Chidori pierced his defense, but he's becoming more unstable. They tracked the Sand siblings through the forest outside Konoha, eventually catching up as Gaara underwent further transformation, his entire right side now resembling the One Tail. I'll kill you both, Gaara screamed, his voice distorted. To prove my existence. Sasuke launched another Chidori, but Gaara's sand arm simply absorbed the impact. The Uchiha fell back, chakra nearly depleted. Your lightning technique is ineffective against his current form, Naruto observed. Fall back and recover. I'll handle this. Don't underestimate him, Sasuke warned. That's no ordinary sand. Naruto nodded. It's infused with the One Tail's chakra. Conventional attacks won't work. He stepped forward as Sasuke retreated to a safe distance. Gaara laughed maniacally, his transformation progressing further. You think you can stop me alone? Mother wants your blood. Time prison. The purple dome expanded, enveloping Gaara completely. Inside, his transformation slowed dramatically, the sand hardening as time distortion affected its movement. Your Biju's power relies on constant chakra flow, Naruto explained, walking calmly into the field. When time is slowed, that flow becomes insufficient to maintain the transformation. Gaara struggled futilely within the slow time, his movements reduced to a crawl. What is this? The difference between our approaches to power, Naruto replied. You rely on brute force and destruction. I rely on precision and control. He reached Gaara within the time field, placing his hand directly on the Sannin's forehead where the kanji for love was tattooed. Time storage. A smaller pocket of altered time formed around Gaara's seal, stabilizing it temporarily and forcing the one-tailed chakra to recede. "Your seal is poorly designed," Naruto commented. "It allows too much bleed-through of the Biju's consciousness. That can be corrected." As the time prison dissipated, Gaara collapsed to his knees, the sand armor crumbling from his body. For the first time in years, the constant voice of Shukaku in his mind was silent. "What? What did you do to me?" he gasped, clutching his head. "Temporary seal stabilization," Naruto explained. "It will last approximately 3 days. During that time, you'll experience normal sleep without the One-Tail's influence. I suggest you use that time to reconsider your purpose." Temari and Kankuro landed nearby, ready to defend their brother, but clearly terrified of Naruto. "Take him and go," Naruto instructed. "The invasion has failed. Orochimaru deceived your village into this alliance. Return to Suna and await diplomatic contact." The siblings hesitated only briefly before collecting their stunned brother and retreating. Naruto turned his attention back to the village, where smoke was rising from several locations. Time skip. He reappeared at the barrier surrounding the Hokage's battle with Orochimaru. Inside, Hiruzen was using the Reaper Death Seal in a desperate attempt to defeat his former student. Naruto analyzed the barrier immediately. 4 Soundmen, 1 at each corner, maintaining a synchronous technique. Weakness: the barrier extended underground but not as powerfully. Time skip. He vanished, reappearing inside the barrier by phasing through its weakest point, the exact center of its underground extension. Both Hiruzen and Orochimaru turned in shock at his sudden appearance. "Naruto, get out of here!" the Hokage commanded, struggling to maintain his grip on the Death God's dagger as it pierced Orochimaru's soul. "Impossible," one of the Sound Four gasped. "No one can penetrate this barrier." Naruto assessed the situation instantly. The Hokage was attempting to seal Orochimaru's soul, but lacked the strength to complete the technique. The Death God would claim Hiruzen's life regardless of success or failure. Time prison. The purple dome expanded, encompassing both Hiruzen and Orochimaru, but excluding the Death God, which existed outside normal time flow. "What are you doing?" Hiruzen gasped, finding his movement slowed but the Reaper unaffected. "Assisting," Naruto replied, moving normally within the field. "The Death God exists outside time. Your technique remains active, but Orochimaru's resistance is compromised." Indeed, within the slowed time field, Orochimaru found his ability to struggle against the soul extraction severely limited. The Reaper's dagger sank deeper into his spiritual form. "No!" the Sannin screamed, his voice distorted by the time distortion. "This is impossible!" "Time storage," Naruto announced, placing his hand on Hiruzen's back. "Borrowing your remaining life force temporarily to complete the technique." He created a pocket where the Hokage's rapidly depleting chakra was preserved, allowing the old man to channel everything into the Death Seal without immediately dying. The effect was immediate. The Reaper's pull strengthened dramatically, drawing out Orochimaru's soul despite his desperate resistance. "This wasn't supposed to happen," Orochimaru hissed as his soul was extracted. "The old man should have failed." Calculations based on incomplete information often lead to strategic failure. Naruto replied dispassionately. The Death God completed its task, consuming Orochimaru's arms and the souls within them before disappearing. The Hokage collapsed, but unlike the traditional outcome of the Reaper Death Seal, he remained alive. Barely. The barrier fell as the Sound Four fled, recognizing their master's defeat. Anbu immediately surrounded the rooftop, securing both the Hokage and Naruto. Medical assistance for the Hokage immediately. Naruto ordered with such authority that the Anbu complied without question. As medical nin stabilized Hiruzen, Jiraiya appeared, having fought his way through the invasion forces. "What happened?" he demanded, staring at the motionless form of Orochimaru, whose body remained alive but soulless. "The Hokage sealed Orochimaru's arms using the Reaper Death Seal," Naruto explained. "I provided time support to ensure completion without immediate fatality." Jiraiya looked from Naruto to the fallen Sannin in disbelief. "That shouldn't be possible. The Death Seal always claims the user's life." "Conventional understanding of space-time ninjutsu is limited," Naruto replied. "The Death God exists outside normal time flow, but not outside all time manipulation. Around them, the sounds of battle were fading as the invasion forces retreated, their leadership destroyed and their sand allies already withdrawing. Konoha had survived, but not without cost. Buildings destroyed, shinobi killed, civilians injured, and a Hokage who, while alive, would never fully recover from the spiritual damage of the Reaper Death Seal. As the dust settled, one thing became clear to the village leadership. Naruto Uzumaki was no ordinary genin. He was something else entirely, a force of nature bound in human form, whose abilities defied explanation and whose true potential remained unknown. The question that now haunted them was simple. Was he Konoha's greatest weapon, or its most dangerous liability? The aftermath of the invasion brought significant changes to Konoha. With Hiruzen Sarutobi bedridden and unable to continue as Hokage, the council immediately began searching for a successor. Jiraiya was the obvious choice, but he refused outright, suggesting instead his former teammate Tsunade. A mission to locate and retrieve her was quickly organized. To everyone's surprise, Naruto was assigned to accompany Jiraiya on this mission. The official reason was to provide the genin with field experience under Asanin's supervision. The unofficial reason was far more pragmatic. Keep Naruto under observation by someone powerful enough to potentially restrain him if necessary. As they prepared to depart, Kakashi pulled Naruto aside at the village gate. The council is divided about you, ultimately. Some see you as Konoha's ultimate weapon. Others fear your abilities make you uncontrollable. Naruto nodded, unsurprised. Logical reactions to incomplete information, fear and opportunism are predictable human responses. Kakashi studied him carefully. What are your intentions toward Konoha, Naruto? Truly? Stability and reform. Naruto replied without hesitation. The current shinobi system is inefficient and self-destructive. It creates the very conflicts it claims to resolve. That's a surprisingly philosophical perspective, Kakashi noted. Merely practical, Naruto corrected. An assassin understands systemic weaknesses better than most. I eliminate immediate threats, but the underlying causes remain, unless the system itself is revised. The conversation gave Kakashi much to consider as he watched his student depart with Jiraiya. The journey to find Tsunade was relatively straightforward. Jiraiya's intelligence network quickly located her in Tanzaku Town, drowning her sorrows in sake and gambling away her inheritance. What they hadn't anticipated was that Orochimaru's followers would also be seeking her out. Kabuto Yakushi, Naruto identified the silver-haired ninja immediately as they encountered him outside Tsunade's hotel. Spy, infiltrator, medical specialist, Orochimaru's right hand. Kabuto smiled pleasantly, though his eyes widened slightly at being recognized. My reputation precedes me, and you must be Naruto Uzumaki, the one who helped defeat Lord Orochimaru. State your purpose here, Naruto demanded, ignoring the pleasantries. Direct, aren't we? Kabuto adjusted his glasses. I'm here for the same reason you are, to speak with Lady Tsunade. My master requires her medical expertise to restore his arms. Jiraiya stepped forward. Orochimaru is alive? His body lives, Kabuto confirmed. But his arms are sealed beyond conventional medical treatment. Only Lady Tsunade's legendary skills might help. Naruto assessed the situation instantly. You've already approached her. Her response? Kabuto's smile tightened. She's considering the offer. What offer? Jiraiya demanded. That's between her and Lord Orochimaru, Kabuto replied smoothly. Now, if you'll excuse me. He turned to leave, but Naruto appeared directly in his path. Time skip. Time prison. The purple dome engulfed Kabuto, slowing his movements to a crawl. Jiraiya-sama, Naruto said calmly. I suggest we extract information regarding Orochimaru's current location and condition. The Toad Sage looked troubled. That's not how Konoha operates, Naruto. Conventional interrogation would be ineffective against someone of Kabuto's training, Naruto countered. Time manipulation allows access to information without physical torture. He stepped into the time field, moving normally while Kabuto struggled in slow motion. Placing his hand on the spy's forehead, Naruto closed his eyes. Time reflection. It wasn't a technique he'd revealed before, the ability to view recent memories by manipulating the time field around an individual's brain. Images flashed through Naruto's mind. Orochimaru, arms blackened and useless. A hidden sound base not far from Tanzaku Town. Tsunade, tears streaming down her face as Orochimaru offered to resurrect her loved ones in exchange for healing his arms. I have what we need, Naruto announced, releasing the technique. Kabuto collapsed, unconscious but unharmed. What did you do to him? Jiraiya asked, clearly unsettled. Accessed his recent memory imprints, Naruto explained. Orochimaru has offered to resurrect Tsunade's brother and lover using the impure world resurrection in exchange for healing his arms. She has 3 days to decide. Jiraiya's face darkened. That bastard always knows exactly where to strike. We should locate Tsunade immediately, Naruto suggested. Emotional manipulation makes her decision-making compromised. They found the legendary medic in a bar, working on her 5th bottle of sake. Her assistant Shizune hovered nearby, clearly concerned. Tsunade, Jiraiya greeted solemnly. It's been a while. The blonde woman looked up, irritation flashing across her face. Jiraiya, what are you doing here? Konoha needs you, he replied directly. The old man used the Reaper Death Seal against Orochimaru. He survived but can't continue as Hokage. Tsunade snorted. And you think I care? That village takes everything from everyone. Find someone else. We know about Orochimaru's offer, Naruto interjected calmly. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Tsunade's eyes narrowed dangerously. Who's the brat? Naruto Uzumaki, Jiraiya introduced. Genin of Konoha and something more. The jinchūriki? Tsunade examined him with new interest. Doesn't look like much? Appearances are deceptive, Naruto replied. As is Orochimaru's offer. The impure world resurrection doesn't truly return the dead. It binds souls to sacrificial bodies. Your loved ones would be slaves to his will, aware but unable to control their actions. Tsunade's hand tightened around her sake cup until it shattered. How do you know this? I extracted the information from Kabuto's memories, Naruto stated. Orochimaru is desperate. His arms are sealed beyond conventional treatment. He's exploiting your emotional vulnerabilities. You little, Tsunade began, rising with killing intent radiating from her. Time prison. The purple dome expanded, slowing Tsunade's punch to a fraction of its normal speed. Naruto stepped casually aside as her fist inched forward. Physical confrontation is inefficient, he stated calmly. I understand your emotional response, but logic must prevail. Orochimaru killed the third's wife, attempted to destroy Konoha, and has experimented on countless innocent victims. Assisting him would make you complicit in future atrocities. He released the technique, allowing Tsunade to move normally again. She stared at him in shock. What was that? Some kind of space-time ninjutsu? Time manipulation, Naruto corrected. One of several abilities I possess. Jiraiya cleared his throat. Tsunade, we need you as the 5th Hokage. The council is unanimous in their recommendation. She laughed bitterly. Me? Hokage? The position is cursed. Everyone who takes it dies. The Hokage position isn't cursed, Naruto contradicted. It simply attracts individuals willing to sacrifice themselves for collective welfare. A statistical correlation, not causation. Listen, kid, Tsunade began. No, you listen, Naruto interrupted, his tone unchanged but somehow more commanding. Your skills are atrophying from disuse. Your potential is wasted on gambling and alcohol. Your fear of blood limits your medical practice. You've built a life around avoiding your capabilities rather than fulfilling them. The bluntness of his assessment left Tsunade speechless. Harsh, Naruto, Jiraiya murmured, though he didn't disagree. Efficiency requires clarity, Naruto replied before addressing Tsunade again. Konoha needs leadership. You need purpose. The logical solution benefits both parties. Tsunade recovered her voice, anger flashing in her eyes. You think it's that simple? You have no idea what loss feels like, brat. I understand loss conceptually, Naruto acknowledged, but emotional attachment isn't my primary motivator. Effectiveness is. And effectively, you have 3 choices. Accept Orochimaru's false offer and become his accomplice, continue your current path of self-destruction, or return to Konoha and apply your skills productively. The clinical breakdown of her options seemed to penetrate Tsunade's defenses in a way emotional appeals never could. You're an odd one, she finally said, studying him more carefully. Not what I expected from Minato and Kushina's son. Naruto's expression didn't change at the mention of his parents. Genetic heritage is irrelevant to current function. Give us 3 days, Jiraiya suggested, seeing an opening. If you're still unconvinced, we won't press further. Tsunade considered this, then nodded curtly. Fine, 3 days, but the brat has to prove himself to me. Specify parameters, Naruto requested. Show me what you've got. Tsunade challenged, stepping outside the bar. One technique, your best. Impress me. Naruto followed her into the street with Jiraiya and Shizune watching nervously. Very well. Time skip. He vanished, reappearing behind Tsunade instantaneously. Before she could react, he pressed a finger gently against the back of her neck. Vital point strike. Tsunade stiffened, then collapsed to her knees as her entire body went numb. What the hell? She gasped, finding herself unable to move or channel chakra. Temporary neural disruption, Naruto explained. I've interrupted the chakra flow to your motor neurons without causing permanent damage. The effect will wear off in approximately 3 minutes. Jiraiya rushed forward. Naruto, you can't just attack a Sannin. She requested a demonstration, Naruto pointed out reasonably. This technique would be lethal if applied with different pressure and location. I chose a non-permanent variation to illustrate effectiveness without causing harm. As sensation gradually returned to her limbs, Tsunade stared at Naruto with new respect and wariness. That wasn't ninjutsu or genjutsu. You didn't use hand seals or visible chakra. Correct, Naruto confirmed. Precise application of force to specific anatomical points combined with time manipulation. Who taught you this? She demanded. The knowledge was inherent, Naruto replied carefully. Shisui Uchiha helped refine the application. Tsunade looked to Jiraiya, who nodded confirmation. The kid's full of surprises. You should see what he did during the Chunin Exams and the invasion. Over the next 3 days, Tsunade observed Naruto closely, occasionally requesting demonstrations of his abilities. She was particularly interested in his vital point strikes, which aligned with her own medical knowledge of the human body, but applied that knowledge in ways she'd never considered. On the 3rd day, as expected, Orochimaru and Kabuto appeared to hear Tsunade's answer. Have you decided, Tsunade? The snake Sannin asked, his arms hanging uselessly at his sides, blackened by the sealing technique. I have, she replied coldly. My answer is no. Orochimaru's face contorted with rage. You'll regret this. Your precious loved ones could have lived again. As puppets to your will, Tsunade countered. I see through your deception now. Then you'll die with the rest of them, Orochimaru hissed, nodding to Kabuto to attack. Time prison. The purple dome expanded, encompassing both Orochimaru and Kabuto, freezing them in slowed time. Jiraiya-sama, Tsunade-sama, Naruto addressed the Sannin calmly. I suggest immediate elimination of both targets. Orochimaru's continued existence represents a significant threat to Konoha's security. Tsunade stared at the time field in fascination. That's incredible. You've completely immobilized them. Not immobilized, Naruto corrected. Merely slowed to approximately 100th normal speed. The technique can be maintained indefinitely as it requires no chakra expenditure. Jiraiya approached the dome cautiously. Can they hear us? Yes, though sound reaches them very slowly, Naruto explained. From their perspective, our voices are deeply distorted. Inside the field, Orochimaru's eyes burned with hatred and fear as he struggled to move at normal speed. I can execute them now, or we can transport them to Konoha for interrogation, Naruto offered practically. Though Orochimaru's arms are sealed beyond recovery, his knowledge remains valuable. Tsunade stepped forward, cracking her knuckles. Let me handle Orochimaru. I've been waiting for this for a long time. Naruto nodded and selectively released Orochimaru from the time field while maintaining Kabuto's imprisonment. The snake Sannin immediately attempted to flee, but without his arms to form seals, his options were limited. Running away, Orochimaru? Tsunade taunted, her fist glowing with concentrated chakra. That's all you've ever done. Run from consequences. The battle that followed was brief but devastating. Without his arms and against 2 Sannin, even Orochimaru couldn't prevail. Tsunade's chakra-enhanced punch shattered his ribcage, sending him crashing through multiple buildings. Before they could confirm the kill, however, a strange technique activated. Orochimaru's body dissolved into white snakes that slithered away in all directions. Body-shedding technique, Naruto identified. He's escaped, though severely injured. Damn it! Tsunade cursed. We still have Kabuto. Naruto reminded them, gesturing to the still imprisoned medic. His intelligence value is significant. They returned to Konoha with their prisoner, Tsunade having finally agreed to become the 5th Hokage. Her first official act was to heal Hiruzen Sarutobi enough that he could retire peacefully, rather than die from the effects of the Reaper Death Seal. In recognition of their service during the invasion and the Tsunade retrieval mission, both Naruto and Sasuke were promoted to Chunin. The promotion ceremony was brief, with Tsunade personally presenting them with their vests. Uzumaki Naruto, she announced formally. For exceptional combat abilities, tactical analysis, and service to Konoha during the Tsunaoto invasion, you are hereby promoted to the rank of Chunin. As Naruto accepted his vest without visible emotion, whispers spread through the gathered shinobi. The legend of the Time Assassin had grown with each report of his abilities. Some claimed he could stop time completely. Others said he could kill with a single touch. The truth was somewhere in between, but no less formidable. After the ceremony, Tsunade summoned Naruto to her office. "I've reviewed all the reports about your abilities," she began without preamble. "Frankly, they're disturbing. Nothing in medical science explains what you can do." "As I explained to Jiraiya-sama, conventional understanding of time manipulation is limited," Naruto replied calmly. "Cut the crap," Tsunade snapped. "I'm the Hokage now, and I need to know exactly what we're dealing with. Are you a threat to this village?" Naruto considered the question seriously. "I represent no inherent threat to Konoha's population or infrastructure. My goals align with the village's long-term survival and prosperity, though my methods may differ from conventional shinobi tactics." "That's not entirely reassuring," Tsunade noted dryly. "Complete reassurance would require certainty that doesn't exist," Naruto pointed out. "I can only provide factual statements based on current intent and capability." Tsunade sighed, rubbing her temples. "Let's try a different approach. What do you want, Naruto? Not as a shinobi, but as a person." The question seemed to catch him off guard. For a moment, something almost human flickered in his eyes. "Efficiency," he finally answered. "A world where power is applied precisely where needed, without waste, where systems function as intended, without corruption or self-destruction." "That's still not a very human answer," Tsunade observed. "Humanity is inefficient by nature," Naruto replied. "Emotional, irrational, contradictory. I observe these traits, but don't experience them in the same way." Tsunade leaned forward. "Because of the Nine Tails?" "No. The Nine Tails remain sealed and separate from my consciousness." Naruto paused, considering how much to reveal. "I possess memories and knowledge from another existence. Another life. It shapes my perception and abilities." "Another life?" Tsunade repeated incredulously. "You mean reincarnation?" "Approximately yes," Naruto confirmed, though the term doesn't fully capture the mechanism. The Hokage stared at him for a long moment. "You know how insane that sounds, right?" "The empirical evidence of my ability supports the explanation. Regardless of how it conflicts with conventional understanding," Naruto pointed out reasonably. Tsunade couldn't argue with that logic. The boy's abilities were undeniable, regardless of their source. "Fine," she decided. "Here's what's going to happen. You'll continue serving as a Konoha Chunin, but with special assignment status. You'll report directly to me for missions requiring your unique capabilities." "Assassination missions," Naruto clarified bluntly. "Yes," Tsunade admitted. "Your skills are wasted on conventional combat. But understand this, you operate under my authority, with my explicit approval for each target. No independent eliminations without authorization." "Understood, Hokage-sama," Naruto agreed readily. "Efficient use of specialized capabilities." And so began the legend of Konoha's Time Assassin. Over the next 2 years, Naruto completed missions that would have been impossible for any other shinobi. High-value targets in supposedly impenetrable fortresses, missing nin who had evaded capture for decades, criminal organizations that threatened stability across the continent. None could hide from someone who could simply skip the time between 2 points, appearing inside their most secure sanctums without warning. None could defend against strikes that bypassed all physical protection through time manipulation. With each successful mission, the reputation of the Time Assassin grew, becoming a deterrent in itself. Enemies of Konoha became increasingly paranoid, never knowing when the assassin might appear. Meanwhile, Sasuke continued his own path, growing stronger under Kakashi's tutelage, but increasingly frustrated by his inability to match Naruto's progress. The gap between them widened with each passing month. Despite Sasuke's desperate training, Sakura, recognizing her own limitations in combat, had apprenticed herself to Tsunade, developing formidable medical skills and chakra-enhanced strength that made her a valuable team member in her own right. Team 7 still occasionally took missions together, but more often, they operated separately. Naruto on his specialized assassinations, Sasuke on combat-heavy missions that allowed him to develop his Sharingan, and Sakura dividing her time between medical duties and field operations. It was during this period that the first reports of Akatsuki movement reached Konoha. The organization of S-rank missing nin had begun actively hunting jinchūriki, extracting their biju for unknown purposes. When Jiraiya brought this intelligence to Tsunade, she immediately summoned Naruto. Akatsuki is targeting jinchūriki, she informed him bluntly, which means they'll be coming for you eventually. Naruto nodded, unsurprised. Logical. The Nine Tails represents significant power. Any organization seeking dominance would prioritize its acquisition. This isn't just about power, Jiraiya added gravely. My sources indicate they're collecting all 9 biju for some larger purpose. Then preemptive elimination of Akatsuki leadership is the optimal response. Naruto suggested practically. Tsunade and Jiraiya exchanged glances. It's not that simple, the Hokage explained. These are S-rank missing nin, the most dangerous criminals in the shinobi world, including Itachi Uchiha. I am aware of their capabilities, Naruto replied calmly. My time manipulation provides significant tactical advantage even against opponents of superior raw power. You're not invincible, Naruto, Jiraiya warned. Your abilities are extraordinary, but Akatsuki members have survived decades as missing nin precisely because they're adaptable and unpredictable. A valid concern, Naruto acknowledged, which is why systematic intelligence gathering should precede direct confrontation. Identification of hideouts, movement patterns, partnership dynamics, and individual weaknesses. Tsunade nodded slowly. That's actually sensible. Jiraiya's network has some of this information already, but more detailed intelligence would be valuable. I volunteered to infiltrate known Akatsuki locations using time skip, Naruto offered. I can gather intelligence without detection. Too risky, Jiraiya countered immediately. If they have sensor types who can detect your presence, you'd be walking into a trap. Then what do you suggest? Tsunade asked. Let me take Naruto with me, Jiraiya proposed. I'm planning a long-term intelligence gathering mission anyway. His abilities would be valuable, and I can ensure he doesn't take unnecessary risks. Tsunade considered this. How long? At least a year, Jiraiya estimated. We need to track Akatsuki across multiple countries, identify their bases, and monitor their activities. Naruto nodded his agreement. An acceptable approach. When do we depart? And so, 3 years after becoming a genin, Naruto left Konoha with Jiraiya on an extended mission to gather intelligence on the organization that threatened all jinchūriki, and by extension, the stability of the shinobi world itself. What neither the Hokage nor Jiraiya fully appreciated was that Naruto had his own agenda. Yes, he would gather intelligence on Akatsuki. Yes, he would protect Konoha's interests. But he also intended to implement the next phase of Shisui's contingency plan, identifying and neutralizing the masked man who had controlled the Nine Tails 13 years ago, the true manipulator behind the Uchiha massacre, the shadow leader whose existence even Akatsuki's members might not fully comprehend. For the first time since awakening his abilities, Naruto would be hunting an opponent who might truly understand the nature of space and time. The year traveling with Jiraiya proved educational for both master and student. The Toad Sage witnessed firsthand the full extent of Naruto's abilities, while Naruto gained valuable insights into the wider shinobi world beyond Konoha's borders. They tracked Akatsuki movements across multiple countries, gathering intelligence on each member's capabilities and patterns. Naruto's time skip allowed for unprecedented surveillance, as he could observe targets without physical presence or chakra signatures that might be detected. Your intelligence on Itachi and Kisame is impressive, Jiraiya commented as they reviewed Naruto's latest findings in a small inn near the border of Amigakure. But you're taking too many risks. If they detected you... Impossible, Naruto countered calmly. Time skip leaves no chakra trace. I exist briefly between moments, observable only during materialization. Jiraiya shook his head. You're too confident. Akatsuki has members with sensory abilities we don't fully understand. A calculated risk, Naruto acknowledged. But the intelligence value outweighs potential exposure. Their investigation had revealed disturbing patterns. Akatsuki operated in pairs, each member formidable in their own right, but nearly unstoppable in their designated partnerships. They had already captured the 5 tails and 7 tails jinchūriki, extracting their biju through a complex sealing ritual. Most concerning was the organization's leadership. While Pain, a mysterious figure with the legendary Rinnegan, appeared to be in charge, Naruto had detected subtle evidence of another authority operating from the shadows. "There's someone else," he informed Jiraiya one evening. "Someone directing Pain from behind the scenes." The Sannin looked up sharply. "What evidence do you have?" "Time inconsistencies," Naruto explained. "Occasionally, small distortions appear near Akatsuki gatherings, similar to my own time skip but less refined. Someone else is manipulating space-time." Jiraiya's expression darkened. "That aligns with something I've suspected. My sources indicate a masked man occasionally gives directives to Pain, someone who may have been involved in the Nine Tails attack on Konoha." "The masked man," Naruto repeated. "Shisui-sensei mentioned him, the true orchestrator of the Uchiha massacre." This was new information to Jiraiya. "Shisui told you this when?" "Before his official death," Naruto replied. He suspected the masked man had Sharingan abilities, possibly Mangekyo level, including advanced space-time manipulation. The pieces were beginning to fit together, a shadowy figure with Uchiha connections, space-time abilities, and enough power to manipulate both Pain and the Nine Tails. "We need to report this to Tsunade immediately," Jiraiya decided. Naruto nodded agreement, though his mind was already working on contingencies. If this masked man could manipulate space-time, he represented both the greatest threat and the most intriguing opponent Naruto had ever encountered. Their return to Konoha after a year abroad was met with mixed reactions. Tsunade was pleased with their intelligence gathering, but concerned by the implications. The village itself had changed somewhat in their absence. Security had been enhanced, new buildings had risen where damage from the invasion had occurred, and a general sense of prosperity had returned. Sasuke greeted Naruto with thinly veiled hostility. During the year, he had advanced to Jonin rank, mastered numerous fire and lightning techniques, and developed his Sharingan significantly. Yet he knew instinctively that the gap between them had only widened. "We need to talk," Sasuke stated bluntly after the initial team reunion. Privately, they met at their old training ground, where Sasuke immediately activated his Sharingan, 3 tomoe spinning in each eye. "I want the truth," he demanded, "about Itachi, about the massacre, about everything you know." Naruto studied him impassively. "What prompted this inquiry now?" "I've been piecing things together," Sasuke replied, tension evident in his voice. "Inconsistencies in the official record, statements from the elders that don't align, and rumors about a masked man who might have been involved." "You've been investigating," Naruto observed. "Logical, given your primary motivation." "Stop analyzing and start talking," Sasuke snapped. "I know you know something." Naruto considered his options carefully. Shisui's contingency plan had always included eventually revealing the truth to Sasuke, but only when he was ready to handle it constructively rather than destructively. "What I tell you cannot leave this training ground," Naruto began. "The information would destabilize Konoha's leadership structure if made public prematurely." He proceeded to explain everything: the planned Uchiha coup, the council's decision to eliminate the clan, Danzo's theft of Shisui's eye, and Itachi's impossible choice to either participate in the extinction of his clan or watch them die in a civil war. Shisui attempted to prevent the massacre using Kodoha Matsukami on Itachi. Naruto continued, watching Sasuke's increasingly pale face. He partially succeeded, which is why only the leadership was eliminated rather than the entire clan. However, the masked man, who Shisui believed to be Madara Uchiha or someone claiming his identity, complicated matters. Sasuke's hands were shaking with rage and shock. Why would Itachi agree to any of this? Why make me hate him? To protect you, Naruto explained simply. By positioning himself as a traitor and you as the avenger, he ensured Danzo would not target you as a potential threat. He became the villain so you could remain the hero. And you've known this. For how long? Sasuke demanded. Since the night of the massacre, Naruto confirmed. Shisui-sensei shared this information before his staged death. Staged? Sasuke seized on the word. Shisui is alive? Was alive, Naruto corrected. He died 3 years ago from a progressive illness related to overuse of his Mangekyo Sharingan, the same illness that is currently affecting Itachi. Sasuke sat heavily on a nearby stump, the information overwhelming him. So everything, my entire life since the massacre, has been built on lies. Yes, Naruto confirmed bluntly. Your hatred for Itachi was a manufactured emotional response designed to motivate your development while keeping you safely within Konoha's protection. And Itachi is dying? Sasuke asked, voice hollow. His condition is terminal, Naruto confirmed. Based on my observations during surveillance, he has approximately 6 months remaining, perhaps less if he engages in significant combat. Sasuke's head snapped up. You've seen him? Recently? During my intelligence gathering with Jiraiya-sama, Naruto explained. Akatsuki was the primary target, but I collected data on all members, including Itachi. I need to see him, Sasuke decided immediately. Before he dies, I need to hear the truth from him directly. A predictable response, Naruto nodded. However, direct confrontation presents significant risks. Akatsuki travels in pairs, and Kasame Hoshigaki is formidable. Additionally, Itachi would likely maintain his deception even when confronted. Then what do you suggest? Sasuke asked, surprising Naruto with his willingness to consider alternatives. A controlled encounter, Naruto proposed. I can locate Itachi during his next separation from Kasame. He occasionally undertakes solo reconnaissance, and create an opportunity for dialogue without combat. Sasuke studied him suspiciously. Why would you help me with this? Efficiency, Naruto replied simply. Your emotional resolution with Itachi serves multiple strategic objectives. It neutralizes your vulnerability to manipulation by the masked man, who might otherwise use your hatred as leverage. It provides potential intelligence on Akatsuki's true leadership, and it eliminates the distraction of your revenge obsession, making you a more effective Konoha asset. Despite the clinical assessment, Sasuke seemed to find the logic persuasive. How soon can you arrange this? Within 1 month, Naruto estimated. Itachi follows predictable patterns for solo movement. I'll need Hokage authorization for the mission, however. She'll never approve it, Sasuke objected. Not if presented as a confrontation with an S-rank missing nin, Naruto agreed. But as an intelligence-gathering operation with potential to turn an Akatsuki member into an asset, that aligns with Konoha's strategic interests. And so a plan was formed, one that would bring the Uchiha brothers face to face, not in deadly combat, but in a long overdue reckoning with truth. Tsunade was predictably skeptical of the mission proposal. Let me get this straight, she said, pinching the bridge of her nose. You want authorization for you and Sasuke to deliberately seek out an S-rank missing nin who's part of an organization actively hunting jinchūriki, which includes you, for a conversation? Correct, Naruto confirmed calmly. The intelligence value is significant, and the timing is optimal due to Itachi's deteriorating health condition. And you believe he'll just talk? Not attempt to capture you for Akatsuki? Itachi Uchiha's loyalty to Konoha has never wavered, Naruto stated with certainty. His actions, while appearing treasonous, have consistently served the village's interests from a position of deep cover. Tsunade's eyes narrowed. That directly contradicts official records. Official records are often sanitized for political expediency, Naruto replied. Shisui Uchiha confirmed Itachi's true motivations before his death. The Hokage leaned back, studying him carefully. You've been sitting on this information for years. Correct. Premature disclosure would have destabilized Konoha's leadership structure during a vulnerable period, Naruto explained. However, with Akatsuki now actively targeting jinchūriki, the strategic calculation has shifted. Itachi represents a potential intelligence asset whose value outweighs the political complications. And Sasuke, how will he react to learning his entire vendetta is based on lies? Initial emotional volatility followed by pragmatic reassessment. This Naruto predicted. He's already processing the preliminary information I've shared. Full confirmation from Itachi will complete his psychological reorientation. Tsunade shook her head slightly. You discuss human emotions like they're tactical variables. They are, Naruto replied simply. predictable responses to stimuli that can be managed for optimal outcomes. After further consideration, Tsunade reluctantly authorized the mission, classifying it as a high-risk intelligence operation with strict parameters. Naruto and Sasuke were to make contact with Itachi, extract whatever information they could about Akatsuki, and return without engagement. Combat was authorized only as a last resort for self-defense. As they prepared to depart, Kakashi approached Naruto privately. "I know what you're really doing," the Jonin stated quietly. "This isn't just about intelligence gathering. You're trying to save Sasuke from himself." Naruto considered this assessment. Partially accurate, Sasuke's psychological fixation on vengeance limits his effectiveness and makes him vulnerable to manipulation. Resolving this underlying condition improves his operational value. Kakashi sighed. "One day, Naruto, I hope you'll learn to see people as more than assets with operational value." "Unlikely," Naruto replied candidly. "My perspective is fundamental to my function." The mission began with a precisely calculated interception. Using intelligence gathered during his year with Jiraiya, Naruto had identified Itachi's pattern of solo movement between Akatsuki operations. A small tea house in a border town between Fire Country and Rain Country served as an occasional rest stop, one where Itachi would be alone and, theoretically, more approachable. "Remember," Naruto cautioned as they prepared to enter the establishment, "this is an intelligence operation, not a confrontation. Emotional control is essential." Sasuke nodded tensely, his Sharingan active but concealed behind dark glasses. "I understand." Itachi was indeed there, seated alone in a corner, appearing to be nothing more than a weary traveler enjoying a quiet cup of tea. His Akatsuki cloak was nowhere in sight, replaced by simple civilian clothing. Only his distinctive necklace and the deep stress lines on his face identified him. He looked up as they entered, his expression changing almost imperceptibly as he recognized them. "Sasuke!" he acknowledged quietly. "And the Nine Tails Jinchūriki, an unexpected combination." "Time prison," Naruto announced softly, creating a dome that encompassed their table but excluded the other patrons. Inside the field, time slowed to a crawl for everyone but the three of them, effectively creating perfect privacy as the world outside seemed to freeze. "Interesting technique," Itachi commented, his Sharingan activating instinctively. "Not genjutsu, true time manipulation." "We're here to talk," Sasuke stated, removing his glasses to reveal his own Sharingan. "About the truth, all of it." Itachi's gaze shifted between them, calculating. "What truth do you believe you know?" "The Uchiha coup," Sasuke replied directly. "The council's orders, Danzo's manipulation, the masked man, everything." For a moment, genuine surprise showed on Itachi's face before his composed mask returned. "Who told you this?" "Shisui-sensei shared the information before his staged death," Naruto explained. "He anticipated this eventual confrontation and prepared accordingly." "Shisui," Itachi whispered, a rare emotion coloring his voice. "He survived that night?" "For several years," Naruto confirmed. "He died of natural causes 3 years ago after completing my training." Itachi closed his eyes briefly, processing this. When he opened them again, they were focused entirely on Sasuke. "I never wanted you to learn the truth this way," he admitted quietly. "The burden of knowledge was mine to bear alone." "So it's true," Sasuke pressed, his voice tight with controlled emotion. "All of it?" Itachi nodded once. "Yes, the clan was planning a coup that would have led to civil war. The council ordered their elimination to preserve peace. I volunteered to carry out the mission to ensure your survival." "Why?" Sasuke demanded, his composure cracking slightly. "Why make me hate you? Why push me toward vengeance?" "To make you strong," Itachi replied simply. "To give you a purpose that would keep you safe within Konoha while developing your abilities. To create a hero who eliminated a clan-killing traitor." Sasuke's hands clenched on the table. "You sacrificed everything, your life, your reputation, your future, for me and the village." "A logical choice given the alternatives," Itachi stated in a manner strangely reminiscent of Naruto's own clinical assessments. Naruto observed the exchange with detached interest before redirecting toward intelligence objectives. "Itachi-san, we also need information about Akatsuki, specifically the masked man who assisted you that night." Itachi's expression darkened. "He calls himself Madara Uchiha, though I doubt that's his true identity. He possesses a space-time Mangekyo ability that makes him virtually intangible. Physical attacks pass through him when activated. Objectives? Naruto pressed. The stated goal is world peace through power consolidation, Itachi explained. The Biju are being collected to recreate the Ten Tails, which would then be used to cast an eternal genjutsu on the entire world, the infinite Tsukuyomi. Mass pacification through illusion, Naruto analyzed. Fundamentally flawed. Reality would continue deteriorating while the population remains unaware. Precisely, Itachi agreed, which is why I joined Akatsuki, to monitor and potentially sabotage from within. He turned back to Sasuke. I'm dying, he stated without preamble. The Mangekyo Sharingan extracts a heavy physical toll, accelerating cellular deterioration. I had hoped to die by your hand, giving you both closure and the village's gratitude for eliminating a dangerous missing nin. That's not happening, Sasuke stated firmly. I won't be your executioner or fulfill a lie. What will you do instead? Itachi asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. Sasuke considered this carefully. Return to Konoha with this intelligence. Prepare for the real enemy, this masked man in Akatsuki. Honor your sacrifice by protecting what you valued. Something like pride flickered in Itachi's eyes. You've grown wiser than I anticipated. One more question, Naruto interjected. The masked man's weakness. Every space-time technique has limitations. Itachi nodded. His intangibility can only be maintained for 5 consecutive minutes, and he must solidify to interact physically with the world or to teleport himself or others. Valuable tactical information, Naruto acknowledged. Thank you. As the meeting concluded, Itachi did something unexpected. He reached out and poked Sasuke's forehead, just as he had when they were children. I'm proud of you, little brother, he said softly. Live well. Protect what matters. When the time prison dissolved, Itachi was gone, having used the moment of transition to depart without further interaction. Sasuke sat in silence for several minutes afterward, processing everything. Finally, he looked up at Naruto. You knew this would happen, he stated. You calculated the emotional impact, the revelations, everything. Yes, Naruto confirmed without pretense. The outcome was statistically probable based on known variables. Instead of anger, Sasuke smiled faintly. Thank you. It was perhaps the first genuine expression of gratitude Naruto had ever received for his manipulations. And oddly, it registered as something more than mere tactical success. Their return to Konoha with the intelligence sparked immediate action. Tsunade called an emergency session with her most trusted advisors, excluding the elders who had been involved in the original Uchiha decision. If this information is accurate, she concluded after reviewing their report, we're facing a threat beyond anything we've previously encountered. A mastermind with decades of planning, space-time abilities, and a plan to essentially end free will throughout the world. The intelligence is accurate, Naruto confirmed. Itachi Uchiha's testimony aligns with previous data points and clarifies several inconsistencies in our understanding of Akatsuki's structure. So what do we do? Kakashi asked the obvious question. Preemptive strike, Naruto suggested immediately. The masked man represents the strategic center of Akatsuki. Eliminate him, and the organization loses cohesion. And how exactly do we eliminate someone who can become intangible at will? Tsunade challenged. Time manipulation counters space manipulation, Naruto explained. His intangibility relies on shifting his body between dimensions. My time prison can potentially freeze him in a single-dimensional state, preventing phase shifting. Potentially, Jiraiya emphasized. You've never tested this against his specific ability. Correct, Naruto acknowledged. However, theoretical modeling suggests high probability of success. Additionally, knowledge of his 5-minute limitation provides an exploitable weakness. Tsunade considered this carefully. I'm not authorizing a direct assault based on theoretical modeling. We need more intelligence on his movement patterns, hideouts, and when he's most vulnerable. A reasonable precaution, Naruto conceded. I propose a dedicated intelligence operation focusing exclusively on the masked man. 2-person team for optimal mobility and minimal detection profile. You and who else? Tsunade asked, though she likely already knew the answer. Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto replied predictably. Sharingan provides tactical advantage against Sharingan-based techniques. Additionally, his lightning affinity complements my time abilities. And so a new mission was authorized. Not assassination yet, but targeted surveillance of the most dangerous man in the shinobi world. Naruto and Sasuke would track the masked man, observe his patterns, and identify vulnerabilities for future exploitation. What none of them realized was that the hunter was about to become the hunted. The forest fell silent as Naruto and Sasuke departed for their surveillance mission on the masked man. No birds sang, no leaves rustled. Nature itself seemed to hold its breath, as if sensing the coming storm. Neither shinobi noticed the imperceptible distortion in reality above them, a spiral vortex, barely visible for a fraction of a second before vanishing completely. They were being watched. "So you found me out." A deep voice echoed through the darkness of the Akatsuki's hidden chamber. "The Kyuubi Jinchūriki and the last loyal Ucha are moving against me specifically." The masked figure stood before the assembled Akatsuki members, his single visible eye gleaming with the distinctive pattern of the Sharingan. "Is this a problem, Toby?" Pain asked, his Rinnegan eyes fixed on the masked man. "Or should I call you Madara now?" "Neither name matters," the masked man replied. "What matters is that we accelerate our timeline. The jinchūriki known as Naruto Uzumaki represents a threat beyond our initial calculations." Kisame Hoshigaki grinned, revealing rows of shark-like teeth. "The brat who can manipulate time? Sounds like fun." "Fun?" The masked man's voice hardened. "His abilities transcend conventional ninjutsu. My sources indicate he can freeze time in localized fields, move instantly between points without traditional space-time ninjutsu markers, and strike vital points with precision that bypasses all physical defenses." "You sound worried," Konan observed quietly. "Cautious," the masked man corrected. "His abilities directly counter my own. That makes him uniquely dangerous." "What about Itachi?" Kisame asked. "He's been acting strangely since his last solo mission." The masked man's eye narrowed. "Itachi Uchiha is compromised. He's likely been a double agent from the beginning. We proceed without him." "So what's the plan?" Deidara asked impatiently. "We've been gathering the Biju for years. We already have 6 of 9. Why not just continue?" "Because our hunter has become aware of us," the masked man explained. "And this particular hunter can manipulate the fundamental fabric of time itself. We must strike first." He turned to Pain. "Prepare a full assault on Konoha. Draw out the Nine-Tails Jinchūriki. Force him to defend rather than hunt." Pain nodded solemnly. "When?" "Immediately. The time for shadow games is over." Naruto paused mid-stride, his senses detecting a subtle shift in the time fabric around them. They had been tracking the masked man's movements for 3 days, following whispers and rumors across the border regions between Fire Country and Rain Country. "We're being manipulated," he stated calmly to Sasuke. "Our intelligence has been compromised." Sasuke activated his Sharingan, scanning their surroundings. "Genjutsu?" "No." Naruto's eyes narrowed. "Something more fundamental. The time signatures we've been following are decoys. We're being drawn away from Konoha." As if summoned by his words, a messenger hawk appeared overhead, circling urgently. Sasuke extended his arm, allowing the bird to land and deliver its message. His expression darkened as he read. "Akatsuki has been spotted moving toward Konoha in force. Multiple S-rank members confirmed. Tsunade is ordering all available Jonin and special operatives to return immediately." "A diversion strategy," Naruto analyzed. "While we hunt the masked man, he directs Pain to attack Konoha, forcing us to abandon the hunt and defend." "We need to return," Sasuke insisted, already turning back. "Conventional travel would take 12 hours, Naruto calculated. Unacceptable delay given the threat level. "Then what do you suggest?" Naruto extended his hand. "Time skip, extended range." The air shimmered around them, reality itself seeming to fold as Naruto pushed his abilities beyond what he'd previously demonstrated. In an instant, they vanished from the forest path and reappeared atop the Hokage monument overlooking Konoha. Sasuke staggered slightly, disoriented by the instantaneous transition across such distance. "That's new." "A recent development," Naruto confirmed dispassionately. "The practical range limitation of time skip was previously 500 meters. I've been extending it gradually through practice." "And you didn't mention this because—" "Tactical advantage relies on information asymmetry," Naruto replied simply, already scanning the village below. "The element of surprise is preserved by concealing full capabilities until necessary." The village appeared peaceful. Too peaceful. The normal bustle of civilian activity was missing, replaced by the organized movement of shinobi in defensive positions. Tsunade had clearly initiated emergency protocols. "They're not here yet," Sasuke observed. "But they will be," Naruto stated with certainty. Pain leads Akatsuki's direct assaults. His attack pattern typically begins with a massive explosion rocked the village's northern edge, interrupting his analysis. A plume of smoke rose from what had been the outer wall. A decisive strike to compromise perimeter defenses, Naruto finished, his expression unchanged despite the destruction. "We should separate. You coordinate village defense with Kakashi and other Jonin. I'll engage Pain directly." Sasuke hesitated. "Pain reportedly has the Rinnegan. Even you can't." "Pain's abilities are formidable but rely on conventional physics," Naruto interrupted. "Time manipulation transcends those limitations. Go, protect the civilians." Without waiting for acknowledgement, Naruto vanished with another time skip, leaving Sasuke to coordinate with the village's defenders. In the center of the growing chaos, Pain, or rather, the 6 bodies controlled by Nagato, had begun their systematic assault on Konoha. The Deva Path stood impassively amid the destruction, surveying the village with ringed purple eyes. "Shinra Tensei," he intoned, extending his hand. The gravitational force expanded outward, crushing buildings and sending debris flying as Konoha's defenders scrambled to evacuate civilians from the affected areas. Time Prison. The purple dome materialized around the Deva Path, instantly slowing the expansion of his gravitational technique to a crawl. Within the distorted time field, the path struggled to move, each motion taking 100 times longer than normal. Naruto walked calmly into the field, studying the frozen figure with clinical detachment. Rinnegan, corpse vessel animated through chakra receivers. Interesting approach to remote combat. With precision born from years of assassination training, Naruto located and extracted the black chakra receiver rods embedded in the body. Once removed, the Deva Path collapsed, temporarily severed from Nato's control. "One down," Naruto observed dispassionately, already turning his attention to the next target. The animal path had summoned a massive 3-headed dog that was rampaging through the residential district. Konoha shinobi attempted to contain it, but its regenerative abilities made conventional attacks ineffective. Time skip. Naruto appeared directly beside the animal path, bypassing the summoned beasts entirely. Flash Fist Crush, vital disruption. His strike connected with terrifying precision, the concentrated force disrupting the chakra network connecting the corpse to Nagato's control. Like the Deva Path, this body collapsed as Naruto systematically extracted the chakra receivers. The summoned beasts disappeared in puffs of smoke as their connection to the summoner was severed. Across the village, the remaining paths of Pain registered the loss of 2 bodies and adjusted their strategy. The Prita Path absorbed an incoming fire jutsu from a Konoha defender, while the Ashura Path transformed its arm into a high-powered cannon, targeting the area where Naruto had last been seen. Time Domain. A new technique, the air around Naruto rippled as he expanded his time control beyond a simple prison. Within this domain, he perceived everything in slow motion while maintaining his own normal speed, effectively granting him minutes to react to events that took seconds for everyone else. The missile from the Asura Path crawled through the air toward him. Naruto stepped aside casually, then time skipped directly to the source. Time Assassination. His hand phased partially through time dimensions as it struck, bypassing physical defenses to directly damage the internal mechanism controlling the path. Like its predecessors, the Asura Path collapsed, its weaponized body reverting to an inert corpse. "Your bodies fall one by one, Nagato," Naruto stated calmly, knowing the remaining paths could hear him. "Your Rinnegan is impressive, but conventional dojutsu cannot counter time manipulation." The Naraka Path summoned the King of Hell, the massive spectral head emerging from the ground as it attempted to capture and interrogate a wounded Konoha shinobi. Time skip. Naruto appeared between them, extracting the trapped ninja and setting him safely aside before turning to the Naraka Path. Flash Fist Crush, internal rupture. The precision strike shattered the chakra network within the corpse, causing it to collapse immediately. Naruto extracted the chakra receivers methodically, his movements efficient and economical, 4 paths neutralized in less than 5 minutes, Without the Deva Path's gravitational abilities or the Animal Path's summons, the remaining two paths, Preta and Human, found themselves increasingly isolated and vulnerable. The Preta Path attempted to absorb Naruto's chakra directly, reaching out to grab him. Time Prison, localized field. Instead of encasing the entire path, Naruto created a micro-time field around just the arms of the Preta Path, freezing them in place while the rest of the body remained mobile. Your absorption ability requires physical contact, Naruto observed, a significant tactical limitation. With the Preta Path's arms immobilized, Naruto executed another Flash Fist Crush, targeting the spine where the primary chakra receiver was embedded. The body collapsed, joining its fallen counterparts. Only the Human Path remained, and it was already retreating, presumably to report the devastating losses back to Nagato directly. Time skip. Naruto intercepted the final path effortlessly, appearing directly in its escape path. Tell Nagato that his approach is fundamentally flawed, Naruto instructed the path, knowing his words would reach the true controller. Remote control creates inherent delay between perception and response. Against time manipulation, that millisecond delay becomes an insurmountable vulnerability. The Human Path attempted to grab Naruto's head, its soul extraction ability potentially devastating if it connected. Time Prison. The purple dome expanded, freezing the path in mid-lunge. Naruto walked calmly around the immobilized figure, studying it with detached interest. "Your soul extraction technique is intriguing," he commented. "A direct application of the Rinnegan's authority over life and death. However, it requires physical contact and operates within normal time flow." He extracted the chakra receivers from this final path, completing the systematic dismantling of Pain's assault force. Throughout Konoha, shinobi stared in disbelief. The 6 paths of Pain, each powerful enough to challenge multiple Jonin simultaneously, had been neutralized in less than 10 minutes by a single individual. Naruto stood amid the fallen corpse vessels, his expression unchanged. "The direct assault has been neutralized," he reported via radio to the Hokage Tower. However, these were merely proxies. The real Naruto remains hidden, likely within range to maintain control but outside direct combat parameters. "Can you locate him?" Tsunade's voice crackled through the radio. "Yes. The chakra transmission creates a traceable time disturbance," Naruto confirmed. "I will neutralize the source." "Wait for backup," Tsunade ordered. "We don't know what other Akatsuki members might be with him." "Backup would be inefficient against Nagato's abilities," Naruto replied calmly. "Additionally, the village requires defenders in case this is a multi-phase attack." Without waiting for further instructions, he focused on the subtle time disturbance created by Nagato's chakra transmission. Time skip, trace protocol. He vanished from Konoha, following the chakra signature to its source kilometers away, where Nagato's true body waited. The paper tree concealing Nagato and Konan stood on a hill overlooking Konoha from a safe distance. Inside, Nagato's emaciated form was connected to a life support machine, his red hair hanging limply around his Rinnegan eyes. "Impossible," he whispered, having witnessed the systematic destruction of all 6 paths through their shared vision. No one has ever defeated Pain so completely. Konan stood protectively beside him. "We should retreat, Nagato. This jinchūriki is beyond our calculations." "No," Nagato insisted. "I still have time skip." Naruto materialized inside their sanctuary, bypassing all external defenses. Konan reacted immediately, her body dissolving into thousands of paper sheets that swarmed toward the intruder. Time Prison, selected field. The purple dome expanded around Konan's paper form, freezing her attack mid-flight while leaving Nagato unaffected. Naruto wanted answers, not merely elimination. "Naruto Uzumaki," he acknowledged, approaching the withered figure in the mechanical chair. "The true Pain, your Rinnegan is authentic, unlike the masked man's claims to be Madara Uchiha." Nagato's eyes widened slightly. "You know, the masked man manipulates from shadows," Naruto confirmed, "using your grief and idealism to further his agenda while claiming to be Madara." "It doesn't matter who he is," Nagato responded, his voice raspy but determined. "The world's cycle of hatred must be broken. Only through pain can people understand each other." "An inefficient approach," Naruto countered dispassionately. "Inflicting universal suffering creates shared trauma, but doesn't address underlying systemic causes." It's a philosophical error based on emotional reaction rather than strategic analysis. Nagato studied him with the concentric rings of the Rinnegan. You speak like no jinchūriki I've encountered. No emotion, no hatred, despite what I've done to your village. Emotion is inefficient for optimal tactical performance, Naruto explained simply. I recognize you're being manipulated by the masked man. Your Rinnegan makes you valuable to his plan, but expendable once it's complete. Something in Naruto's clinical assessment seemed to reach Nagato in a way emotional appeals could not. You believe he's using me. It's not belief, it's fact, Naruto stated. The infinite Tsukuyomi requires the 10 tails, which requires all 9 Biju. Your role is collection, not implementation. Once complete, your utility ends. Konan remained frozen in her paper form, unable to intervene as Naruto systematically dismantled the philosophical foundation of Nagato's worldview with cold logic. What would you suggest instead? Nagato asked, a genuine question from the self-proclaimed god to the time-manipulating assassin. Targeted elimination of specific power nodes that perpetuate conflict cycles, Naruto replied without hesitation. Precision rather than mass destruction. Reform rather than revolution. For the first time, something like doubt crossed Nagato's gaunt features. And the masked man? A manipulator exploiting your genuine desire for peace, Naruto confirmed. His true agenda is control, not harmony. Nagato closed his eyes briefly. When he opened them, his resolve had shifted. I've spent my life following Jiraiya's dream of peace through increasingly desperate measures. Perhaps it's time to consider alternatives. A logical reassessment, Naruto acknowledged. Will you provide intelligence on Akatsuki's organization and the masked man's capabilities? Before Nagato could answer, the air between them distorted, swirling into a spiral vortex from which the masked man himself emerged. How disappointing, Nagato, the masked figure stated coldly, swayed by a few words from the very jinchūriki we've been hunting. Toby, Nagato acknowledged, using the masked man's Akatsuki alias. Or should I call you Madara? Or perhaps neither. The masked man ignored the question, his attention fixed on Naruto. The famous time assassin, your reputation is well earned if you defeated all 6 paths so efficiently. Obito Uchiha, Naruto stated flatly. The masked man stiffened perceptibly. What did you call me? Your true identity. Obito Uchiha, believed killed during the Third Shinobi War, student of Minato Namikaze, teammate of Kakashi Hatake. Naruto's expression remained impassive as he revealed this crucial intelligence. Your right side was crushed by a boulder, later reconstructed using Hashirama Senju's cells by Madara Uchiha before his actual death. The masked man, Obito, was momentarily speechless before regaining his composure. Impressive intelligence gathering. But knowing my name doesn't give you power over me. No, Naruto agreed. But understanding your Kamui technique does. 5-minute limitation on intangibility, vulnerability during material interaction, dimensional transfer restricted to yourself and connected objects unless at your pocket dimension's coordinates. Obito's single visible eye narrowed. You've studied me thoroughly. Tactical preparation is fundamental to assassination efficiency, Naruto replied simply. The frozen time prison around Konan's paper form was still active, leaving Nagato and Naruto facing Obito in what had become a Mexican standoff of S-rank powers. You realize, of course, that I can't allow either of you to leave alive now, Obito stated, his Sharingan spinning menacingly. Nagato's Rinnegan belongs to me and you, Naruto Uzumaki, have become too dangerous to the Eye of the Moon plan. Your assessment is logical, but your conclusion flawed, Naruto responded. Your Kamui provides dimensional displacement. My time skip offers time displacement. The fundamental difference makes your technique vulnerable to time counteraction. Theory, Obito dismissed. Let's test it in practice. He lunged forward, his hand passing through Naga's chest to extract the Rinnegan directly, a technique made possible by his intangibility combined with material interaction at will. Time skip. Naruto vanished, reappearing directly in Obito's path. His hand shot forward with precision timing, catching Obito in the exact microsecond when he had to become tangible to interact with Nagato's eyes. Flash fist crush, dimensional anchor. The strike connected with Obito's chest, infused with a new application of Naruto's time energy. Instead of simply delivering physical damage, the technique disrupted the dimensional phasing ability itself, temporarily anchoring Obito to the current dimension. The masked Uchiha staggered back, his intangibility technique failing as time energy interfered with his chakra network. Impossible, he gasped, finding himself fully material for the first time in combat in years. Time prisoned. The purple dome expanded, engulfing Obito completely. Unlike with Konan, Naruto didn't leave this field active for dialogue. This was combat, and Obito represented the most dangerous opponent he had yet faced. Within the slowed time field, Naruto executed a series of precisely calculated vital point strikes, targeting nerve clusters and chakra nodes throughout Obito's body. Each strike was designed to systematically disable without killing. Obito contained too much valuable intelligence to eliminate immediately. When the time prison dissolved, Obito collapsed to the floor, his body paralyzed from Naruto's precision strikes. Your Kamui relies on precise chakra control, Naruto explained clinically, removing the orange spiral mask to reveal the scarred face beneath. I've temporarily blocked the chakra pathways necessary for dimensional manipulation. You are, for the moment, just a man. Nagato watched this systematic dismantling of Obito's seemingly invincible technique with something approaching awe. You countered his space-time ninjutsu completely. Time manipulation transcends space manipulation in the dimensional hierarchy, Naruto explained, securing Obito with chakra-suppressing restraints. His technique creates spatial distortion. Mine alters the fundamental flow of time itself. He turned to Nagato. The Akatsuki assault on Konoha was likely multiphasic. Your pain attack was merely the first wave. What else was planned? Nagato nodded grimly. Kasame and Deidara were positioned as secondary attackers to engage once village defenses were focused on pain. We should return to Konoha immediately, Naruto decided. Will you cooperate, or must I neutralize you as well? Something had fundamentally shifted in Nagato's perspective. Perhaps it was witnessing the defeat of Obito, whom he had believed invincible. Perhaps it was Naruto's logical dismantling of his philosophy. Whatever the cause, the self-proclaimed god of pain made his decision. I will cooperate, he stated quietly, and I will bring Konan as well, once you release her. Naruto nodded once, releasing the time prison around Konan's paper form. She immediately reformed beside Nagato, alarmed to find Obito defeated and restrained. What happened? She demanded. A paradigm shift, Nagato answered cryptically. We've been manipulated, Konan. It's time to reconsider our approach. With the immobilized Obito secured and the cooperation of Nagato and Konan established, Naruto prepared for return transport to Konoha. Time skip, group transition. The air shimmered around all four of them as Naruto extended his time displacement to include his companions. In an instant, they vanished from the paper tree hideout and reappeared in the Hokage's office, where Tsunade was coordinating the village's defense. The Hokage nearly fell from her chair in shock. What the? Threat assessment update, Naruto reported calmly, as if suddenly materializing with 3 S-rank missing nin was routine. Pain has been neutralized. The masked man has been captured and identified as Obito Uchiha, formerly believed deceased. Nagato Uzumaki and Konan have agreed to cooperate in exchange for consideration. Tsunade stared at him. Then at the assembled group, the paralyzed Obito, the withered Nagato in his life support chair, and the wary Konan. You captured the leader of Akatsuki and the mastermind behind them in less than an hour? She finally managed. Yes, Naruto confirmed simply. However, a secondary attack by Kasame Hoshigaki and Deidara is imminent, according to Nagato's intelligence. Village defenses should be redirected accordingly. Tsunade shook off her shock and immediately activated the communication system. All Jonin captains, prepare for secondary attack wave. Potential water-based assault from Kasame Hoshigaki and aerial bombardment from Deidara. As if summoned by her warning, an explosion rocked the southern wall of the village. Through the window, they could see a massive clay bird soaring overhead, with Deidara visible on its back. Art is an explosion. The blonde bomber's voice carried across the village as he dropped more clay creations toward civilian areas. Simultaneously, a massive water jutsu surged through the western entrance, flooding the streets as Kasame Hoshigaki rode the wave on his sentient sword, Samahata. The secondary attack has begun, Naruto observed unnecessarily. I'll neutralize both targets immediately. Wait, Tsunade ordered. You can't just. But Naruto had already vanished with another time skip, Leaving the Hokage with 3 S-rank prisoners and countless questions, Deidara laughed maniacally as his clay explosives detonated across Konoha's rooftops. This was art as he'd always envisioned it, fleeting, spectacular destruction on a massive scale. Behold my ultimate, Time Prison. The purple dome materialized around Deidara and his clay bird, instantly freezing them in mid-flight. Within the slow time field, the bomber's movement reduced to an imperceptible crawl as Naruto appeared beside him, standing casually on the frozen clay creation. Clay-based explosives, Naruto observed, examining one of Deidara's bombs that had been caught mid-drop. Detonated through chakra manipulation, triggered by hand seal or mental command. He systematically collected all undetonated clay from Deidara's pouches, then precisely severed the chakra pathways in the bomber's hands with vital point strikes. Your technique relies on infusing clay with chakra through your hand mouths, Naruto explained to the time-frozen Akatsuki member. Without that capability, your combat effectiveness drops by approximately 98.7%. When the time prison dissolved, Deidara found himself falling through the air, his clay bird neutralized and his hands completely numb. What the? He managed before Naruto executed another time skip, catching the bomber in midair and depositing him unceremoniously in the Hokage's office alongside the other captured Akatsuki members. One target neutralized, Naruto reported to the stunned Tsunade. Proceeding to Kasame Hoshigaki, he vanished again before she could respond. Kasame was enjoying himself immensely, carving through Konoha's defenders with Samahata as his water jutsu flooded the streets. The legendary shark-skin sword absorbed chakra from every ninja who attempted to block it, growing larger and more powerful with each encounter. Is this all the mighty Konoha has to offer? He taunted, swinging his massive weapon in a wide arc that forced a squad of Anbu to retreat. Time domain. The air around Kasame rippled as Naruto established his expanded time control field. Within this domain, everything moved at 100th normal speed from Naruto's perspective, giving him ample time to analyze and counter. Kasame's water jutsu crawled through the air like viscous syrup. The Anbu appeared frozen in their defensive positions. Even Samahata's sentient movement slowed to imperceptibility. Naruto walked calmly through the time-slowed battlefield, positioning himself directly behind Kasame. Vital point strike, neural shutdown. His fingers jabbed precisely at the base of Kasame's skull, targeting the cluster of nerves that controlled voluntary movement. As the time domain dissolved and normal time flow resumed, Kasame found himself suddenly paralyzed, Samahata falling from his nerveless fingers. What? How? The shark-like missing nin gasped, unable to move anything below his neck. Temporary neural disruption, Naruto explained clinically. Your central nervous system will recover in approximately 6 hours, sufficient time for proper containment protocols to be established. With another time skip, Naruto transported Kasame to join the growing collection of S-rank prisoners in the Hokage's office. Tsunade stared at the assembled Akatsuki members in disbelief. Pain Nagato, Konan, Obito, Deidara, and now Kasame, 5 of the most dangerous criminals in the shinobi world, captured in less than 2 hours by a single operative. Is that all of them? She asked weakly. Negative, Naruto replied. Zetsu, Kakuzu, and Hidan remain unaccounted for. Additionally, Itachi Uchiha's status is ambiguous given his double agent role. And you plan to capture them all single-handedly as well? There was a hint of hysteria in Tsunade's voice. If necessary, Naruto confirmed matter-of-factly. However, with the leadership neutralized, remaining members lose strategic direction. They become individual threats rather than coordinated ones. Deidara, who had regained enough composure to speak despite his paralyzed hands, laughed bitterly. You think you've won? This is just the beginning. Yeah, the real show hasn't even started. Naruto turned his attention to the bomber. Explain. This attack? Deidara grinned maniacally. It was never about destroying Konoha or capturing you. It was about forcing the 5 great nations to finally work together. Elaborate, Naruto pressed, his expression unchanging despite the implications. Obito, still partially paralyzed but conscious, chuckled darkly. He's right. Even now, representatives from all 5 Kage are meeting to discuss a single threat that transcends village boundaries. You? Kasame added with a shark-like grin despite his immobility. The time assassin who can neutralize S-rank ninja like their academy students. The ultimate weapon that makes traditional shinobi warfare obsolete. Tsunade paled as the implications became clear. They're forming an alliance against Konoha? Not against Konoha, Obito corrected. Against him specifically. The perfect assassin who represents a fundamental shift in power balance. No village can feel secure when one individual can bypass all defenses, neutralize any target, and vanish without trace. Naruto processed this information with his usual clinical detachment. Logical response from traditional power structures when faced with paradigm disruption. Adaptation through coalition rather than individual resistance. You don't seem concerned, Nagato observed. Concern is an emotional response that doesn't improve tactical performance, Naruto replied simply. The situation requires analysis and strategic adaptation, not emotional reaction. He turned to Tsunade. These prisoners require specialized containment. I suggest modified time prison seals for each, calibrated to their specific abilities. The Hokage nodded numbly, still processing the revelation about the forming alliance. I'll have Ibiki prepare the high-security cells. But Naruto, if what they're saying is true, if all 5 villages are forming an alliance specifically to counter you, we need to consider diplomatic options. Diplomacy is inefficient against existential fear, Naruto stated bluntly. Traditional power structures perceive time manipulation as fundamentally unbalancing to the shinobi world order. Their logical response is elimination of the perceived threat, me. So what do you suggest? Tsunade asked, recognizing the cold logic in his assessment. Naruto considered briefly. Preemptive demonstration of capability, combined with clearly defined operational parameters. Show strength, then establish boundaries. You want to scare them into negotiating? Tsunade translated incredulously. Fear and respect are more reliable motivators than appeals to reason when dealing with entrenched power structures, Naruto explained. I will provide a demonstration that makes direct confrontation appear futile, then offer acceptable terms. Before Tsunade could object, a massive explosion rocked the village, larger than any of Deidara's previous attacks. Through the window, they could see a gigantic 3-headed snake smashing through Konoha's eastern wall. Orochimaru, Tsunade whispered in shock. He's joined forces with Akatsuki? Opportunistic intervention, Naruto assessed. With Konoha's defenses focused on Akatsuki, he seizes the opportunity to strike. Deidara laughed again. The snake was never with us, yeah. But enemies of our enemies, right? Naruto turned to Tsunade. Secure these prisoners, I'll neutralize Orochimaru. His arms are still sealed from the third's jutsu, Tsunade reminded him. He shouldn't be able to perform ninjutsu. He's adapted, Naruto replied, likely using a proxy body or possession technique to circumvent the seal's limitations. Without waiting for further discussion, he vanished with another time skip, leaving Tsunade to deal with the unprecedented collection of S-rank criminals in her office. The eastern district of Konoha was in chaos. Orochimaru, riding atop his massive snake summon, directed the destruction with sadistic pleasure. Beside him stood Kabuto Yakushi, his body partially transformed with snake-like features, evidence of Orochimaru's experiments. How fitting, the snake Sanin hissed in delight. Konoha falls to Akatsuki from one direction and to me from another. Poetry and destruction, wouldn't you say, Kabuto? Indeed, Lord Orochimaru, his assistant agreed, adjusting his glasses. Though I'm concerned about reports that several Akatsuki members have already been captured. By whom? Orochimaru asked, momentarily distracted from his destruction. Time skip. Naruto materialized directly between them on the snake's head, answering the question with his presence rather than words. Ah, the Nine-Tails Jinchūriki, Orochimaru smiled, his unnaturally long tongue flicking out between his teeth. Or should I call you the Time Assassin now? Your reputation has grown impressively since our encounter in the Forest of Death. Orochimaru, Kabuto. Naruto acknowledged them both with the same flat tone. Your attack is poorly timed. Akatsuki has already been neutralized. You face Konoha's full defensive capability alone. Details, Orochimaru dismissed with a wave of his hand, revealing that he had indeed found a way to use his arms again. I'm more interested in how you've developed those fascinating time abilities. Perhaps we could come to an arrangement? I have so many experiments that would benefit from time manipulation. Negotiations are inefficient with individuals who lack ethical constraints, Naruto replied. Your pattern indicates you would violate any agreement when convenient. So cold, Orochimaru chuckled. No room for scientific curiosity in that calculated mind of yours? Your definition of science lacks methodological rigor and ethical protocols, Naruto countered. It's experimentation driven by personal obsession rather than objective inquiry. Before Orochimaru could respond, Naruto executed his attack. Time prison, dual target. The purple dome expanded to encompass both Orochimaru and Kabuto, freezing them in slow time. Unlike previous applications, Naruto maintained the field while performing additional techniques. Time assassination, cellular decay. He placed his hand on Orochimaru's chest, channeling time energy directly into the Sanin's body. Instead of causing immediate damage, this technique accelerated time within Orochimaru's cells, forcing his body to age rapidly. It was particularly effective against Orochimaru's body-switching technique, which relied on cellular stability for the transfer process. By destabilizing the cellular structure through accelerated time, Naruto effectively neutralized Orochimaru's primary survival mechanism. For Kabuto, Naruto employed a different approach. Vital point strike, memory disruption. His fingers pressed precisely against Kabuto's forehead, targeting the neural pathways that stored procedural memory, specifically the muscle memory required for executing techniques. The strike didn't erase knowledge, but temporarily severed the connection between knowledge and implementation. When the time prison dissolved, both Orochimaru and Kabuto collapsed to their knees. The snake Sanin stared in horror as his hands began to wither before his eyes, the accelerated cellular decay spreading throughout his body. "What have you done to me?" he demanded, his voice cracking as the decay reached his throat. "Time acceleration at the cellular level," Naruto explained clinically. "Your body is experiencing approximately 50 years of aging per minute. Your cellular transfer technique requires stable tissue. That option is now unavailable." Kabuto attempted to use medical ninjutsu to counter the effect, only to find that his hands wouldn't form the necessary seals despite his knowledge of what to do. Neural disruption of procedural memory pathways, Naruto explained to the confused medic. You retain knowledge, but cannot implement techniques. The effect is temporary but sufficient for containment purposes. With both opponents neutralized, Naruto executed another time skip, transporting them back to the increasingly crowded Hokage's office. Additional prisoners secured, he reported to Tsunade, who now stood amid the most dangerous collection of criminals ever assembled in one room, all effectively neutralized by a single shinobi. Orochimaru, she acknowledged grimly, noting her former teammate's rapidly deteriorating condition. Can you stop whatever you did to him? We need him alive for questioning. Time restoration. Naruto placed his hand on Orochimaru's chest again, this time reversing the time acceleration. The decay halted, though the damage already done remained. He's stabilized but weakened, Naruto reported. Cellular damage is approximately equivalent to 20 years of natural aging, sufficient to prevent body transfer techniques, but not immediately life-threatening. Tsunade surveyed the assembled prisoners, Pain Nagato, Konan, Obito, Deidara, Kasame, Orochimaru, and Kabuto. 7 S-rank threats neutralized in under 3 hours by one operative. I need to contact the council immediately, she decided, and prepare a response to this alleged alliance forming against you. Unnecessary, Naruto replied. I'll address the alliance directly. What do you mean? Tsunade asked, alarmed. Time skip, extended range. Before she could object, Naruto vanished from the office, leaving the Hokage with the unprecedented responsibility of containing 7 of the world's most dangerous criminals while wondering exactly what her most lethal operative planned to do next. The Land of Iron, traditionally neutral in shinobi conflicts, had been chosen as the meeting place for the Emergency 5 Kage Summit. Under the heavy snowfall, representatives from all 5 great villages gathered in the fortress-like conference building, their respective Kage flanked by bodyguards. The Raikage A pounded his fist on the table. This time assassin represents an unacceptable threat to the balance of power. One man who can neutralize entire organizations of S-rank missing nin, who can bypass any defense, eliminate any target. No single village should possess such a weapon. Gaara, the young Kazekage, remained calmer. We should remember that this same individual stabilized my seal and potentially saved Suna from destruction during Shukaku's rampage. He's still a jinchūriki himself, Onoki, the elderly Tsuchikage, pointed out. The Nine Tails combined with these time abilities makes him too dangerous to leave unchecked. Meiterumi, the Mizukage, tapped her fingers thoughtfully on the table. The reports are concerning. He allegedly neutralized all 6 paths of pain in under 10 minutes. If true, that level of combat capability transcends anything we've seen before. Mifune, the samurai general serving as neutral moderator, attempted to maintain order. The purpose of this unprecedented summit is to discuss a unified response to this emerging threat. We need time skip. The air in the center of the room distorted as Naruto materialized without warning, bypassing all external security measures. The samurai guards immediately drew their swords, while the Kage's bodyguards moved into defensive positions. Greetings, Naruto stated calmly, seemingly unconcerned by the weapons pointed at him from all directions. I understand I'm the subject of this discussion. I thought direct dialogue would be more efficient than speculation. How did you get in here? The Raikage demanded, electricity crackling around his massive frame. This facility has the highest security protocols in the Land of Iron. Conventional security measures are ineffective against time displacement, Naruto explained matter-of-factly. I didn't bypass your defenses. I bypassed the time required to encounter them. Mifune signaled his samurai to stand down, recognizing the futility of aggression. Since you're here, perhaps you'd care to address the concerns that brought these leaders together? Of course. Naruto surveyed the assembled Kage without a hint of intimidation. You fear my abilities represent a fundamental shift in the balance of power. This is a logical concern. Traditional shinobi warfare relies on relatively comparable force distribution among the 5 great nations. My time manipulation exists outside that paradigm. That's putting it mildly, Onoki scoffed. You've single-handedly captured most of Akatsuki, including their leader and the man behind them. That's not just outside the paradigm, it's a complete redefinition of combat potential. Accurate assessment, Naruto acknowledged. However, your response, forming an alliance specifically to counter me, is strategically flawed. Explain, Gaara requested, genuinely curious. 2 reasons, Naruto held up 2 fingers. First, practical implementation. Your combined forces, while formidable, rely on conventional combat parameters, speed, strength, ninjutsu, genjutsu. None of these address the fundamental advantage of time manipulation. He paused, letting this sink in before continuing. Second, opportunity cost. By focusing on neutralizing me, you're ignoring the strategic advantage of redirection. My abilities could be applied to mutual benefit rather than perceived as a threat. The Mizukage raised an elegant eyebrow. Are you suggesting we should share you, like some kind of communal asset? I'm suggesting rational cooperation rather than inefficient confrontation, Naruto clarified. I have neutralized 7 S-rank threats that endangered all 5 nations. My continued operation against mutual enemies serves collective security interests. The Raikage wasn't convinced. And when you decide one of us is a mutual enemy, when Konoha directs you to assassinate a rival Kage, your loyalty is to your village, not to some abstract concept of collective security. My loyalty is to efficient outcomes, Naruto corrected. Village-based factionalism is an outdated model that perpetuates conflict cycles. Precision elimination of specific destabilizing elements across all villages would create more sustainable peace than traditional power balancing. This statement created an uncomfortable silence. Naruto was essentially proposing a new world order, one where he, as the ultimate assassin, would selectively eliminate threats regardless of village affiliation. That sounds suspiciously like appointing yourself judge, jury, and executioner for the entire shinobi world, Onoki observed dryly. An imprecise analogy, Naruto replied. I propose objective threat assessment protocols with multi-village oversight, transparent criteria for intervention rather than unilateral action. Mifune stroked his beard thoughtfully. An interesting proposal, but it still places unprecedented power in the hands of a single individual. The power already exists, Naruto pointed out pragmatically. Your summit doesn't change that reality. The relevant question is how that power is directed, constructively or destructively. The Kage exchanged glances, recognizing the uncomfortable truth in his statement. Naruto had demonstrated his ability to appear anywhere, neutralize any target, and disappear without meaningful resistance. Fighting such ability directly seemed increasingly futile. As a demonstration of good faith, Naruto continued, I've captured the leadership of Akatsuki and Orochimaru. These individuals represented significant threats to all 5 villages. Their neutralization benefits collective security rather than any single village's interests. And what do you want in return? The Raikage asked suspiciously. Rational cooperation, Naruto replied simply. Acknowledge that direct confrontation is inefficient. Establish protocols for identifying mutual threats that warrant time intervention. Create a framework where my abilities serve stability rather than disrupt it. It was a coldly logical proposal, and one that acknowledged the new reality these leaders faced. Traditional military deterrence had become obsolete against an opponent who could simply step outside the flow of time itself. Gaara was the first to respond. I believe there's merit in this approach. Fighting against such abilities would cost countless lives with minimal chance of success. Strategic adaptation serves our people better than prideful resistance. The Kazekage has a point, Mei admitted reluctantly. If reports about his capabilities are accurate, direct confrontation would be devastating for all sides. So we just surrender? The Raikage demanded incredulously. Except that this one shinobi can dictate terms to the 5 great nations? Not surrender, Naruto corrected. Adaptation, evolution. The shinobi world has experienced technological and tactical paradigm shifts before, from the warring clans era to the village system, from the first Hokage's wood release to the second's space-time ninjutsu. Time manipulation is simply the next evolution. Onoki, who had lived through many such shifts, nodded slowly. The boy has a point. I've seen the world change many times. Those who adapt survive. Those who cling to outdated approaches perish. Mifune raised his hand for attention. Perhaps we should consider a trial period, a joint task force with representatives from each village to identify mutual threats and oversee targeted interventions. A reasonable compromise, and Naruto acknowledged. I'm willing to operate within such parameters as demonstration of cooperative intent. The discussion continued for hours, with the Kage gradually shifting from outright hostility to cautious pragmatism. Naruto's cold logic and demonstrated power created a situation where cooperation became the most rational choice, especially when he could have simply eliminated any opponent through time assassination had he chosen a more aggressive approach. By the summit's end, a framework had been established, the Joint Shinobi Time Intervention Protocol. Each village would contribute intelligence and oversight, collectively identifying targets that threatened global stability. Naruto would serve as the primary operative, with his actions subject to review by a council of representatives from all 5 villages. It wasn't perfect, and suspicion remained, but it was a start. The shinobi world had taken its first reluctant step toward transcending the village-based factionalism that had defined it for generations. As the meeting concluded, Naruto prepared to depart. I'll return to Konoha to brief the Hokage on our agreement. The captured Akatsuki members and Orochimaru will be transferred to a joint custody facility as agreed. One more thing, Gaara called as Naruto turned to leave. There are rumors that remaining Akatsuki members, Zetsu, Kakuzu, and Hidan, have been gathering unusual allies. Former experimental subjects of Orochimaru, remnants of disbanded organizations. They may be preparing their own response to your activities. Thank you for the intelligence, Naruto acknowledged. I'll investigate immediately. Time skip, extended range. He vanished from the summit room, leaving the 5 most powerful leaders in the shinobi world to contemplate the new reality they faced. One where traditional power structures had been fundamentally disrupted by a single individual's ability to manipulate time itself. While the 5 Kage Summit negotiated the future of shinobi politics, darker forces were indeed gathering. Deep underground in one of Orochimaru's abandoned laboratories, Black Zetsu had assembled what remained of Akatsuki's forces, along with several unexpected allies. Our organization has suffered unprecedented losses, the plant-like entity observed, his half-black, half-white face splitting into a disturbing grin. But perhaps that creates an opportunity for evolution. Kakuzu, the immortal bounty hunter with 5 hearts, crossed his stitched arms impatiently. Get to the point. What's our strategy against this time assassin? Beside him, Hidan twirled his 3-bladed scythe. Jashin demands his blood. Immortality versus time manipulation. A true test of faith. Your religious fanaticism is tedious, Kakuzu muttered to his partner. Black Zetsu's grin widened. We've gathered some interesting allies. May I introduce Kimimaro Kaguya, former vessel candidate for Orochimaru, master of the Deadbone Pulse Kekkei Genkai. A pale, sickly-looking young man stepped forward, bone protrusions visible beneath his skin. I serve Lord Orochimaru. If he has been captured, I will ensure his release. And here we have Guren, mistress of crystal release. Zetsu continued as a blue-haired woman with sharp eyes joined them. I owe Orochimaru everything, she stated coldly. I'll crystallize this time assassin and shatter him into 1,000 pieces. More figures emerged from the shadows. Experimental subjects, forgotten weapons, missing nin with unique abilities who had been monitoring Akatsuki's activities from afar. But our most valuable ally, Zetsu announced with particular satisfaction, comes from beyond conventional reality. The air distorted at the center of the gathering, reminiscent of Obito's space-time technique, but somehow more profound, more alien. From this distortion emerged a pale figure with horns protruding from her head, white hair flowing around her like a living entity, and most distinctively, a third eye on her forehead, a Rinne Sharingan. Impossible, Kakuzu whispered, genuine shock in his voice. That's Kaguya Otsutsuki, Black Zetsu confirmed, his voice taking on a reverent quality. The rabbit goddess, mother of all chakra, the original owner of the 10 tails. The goddess-like figure surveyed the assembled group with cold, alien detachment. When she spoke, her voice seemed to echo from multiple dimensions simultaneously. This time manipulator, she stated rather than asked. He threatens the infinite Tsukuyomi. Oh, yes, mother, Black Zetsu replied, suddenly subservient. He's disrupted the careful plans we've been implementing for centuries. He exists partially outside conventional time flow, making him uniquely dangerous to our objectives. Then he must be eliminated, Kaguya decided simply. His chakra will return to me, as all chakra eventually must. The revelation sent ripples of shock through the assembled group. Most had believed they were following Akatsuki's agenda or Orochimaru's vision. Now they discovered they had been unwitting pawns in Black Zetsu's millennia-long scheme to resurrect Kaguya Otsutsuki. How is this possible? Guren demanded. The legends say Kaguya was sealed away by her sons thousands of years ago. Partially sealed, Black Zetsu corrected. I've been working to gather the chakra necessary for her complete resurrection ever since. The infinite Tsukuyomi was merely a means to that end, using the God Tree to harvest all chakra and return it to Mother. And we're supposed to just accept this new direction? Kakuzu challenged. I joined Akatsuki for profit and immortality research, not to serve some alleged goddess. Kaguya turned her alien gaze toward the immortal missing nin. Without warning, a bone spike erupted from Kakuzu's chest, piercing one of his 5 hearts. Your compliance is irrelevant, she stated coldly as Kakuzu staggered back, shocked but not killed due to his multiple hearts. Your chakra will serve me whether willingly or not. The demonstration silenced further objections. Even Hidan, normally fearless due to his own immortality, seemed subdued by the casual display of power. The time assassin must be drawn out, Black Zetsu continued, resuming his strategic planning. Direct confrontation has proven ineffective, but his time abilities counter conventional attacks too efficiently. So what's the alternative? Kimimaro asked, loyal to the new direction despite his surprise. We attack what he values, Black Zetsu replied with a malicious grin. Not Konoha itself, that's too well defended now, but smaller targets, isolated groups, civilians, force him to extend his protection too broadly. And when he's stretched thin, Guren prompted, Mother will show him what true manipulation of reality looks like, Black Zetsu answered, glancing reverently at Kaguya. His time abilities are impressive, but limited. Mother controls dimensions themselves. Kaguya observed the planning with detached interest, as if these machinations were merely amusing distractions. This creature who manipulates time, she mused. He reminds me of someone from before, from another existence entirely. Black Zetsu looked up sharply, Mother? It matters not, she dismissed. Prepare your attacks. Draw him out. I will observe his abilities before deciding how best to reabsorb his chakra. As the gathering dispersed to implement their plan, Black Zetsu remained with Kaguya, his true nature as her will made manifest, finally revealed after centuries of manipulation. Be cautious, Mother, he advised. This time assassin has systematically dismantled organizations that took decades to build. His analytical approach makes him unpredictable. You forget who I am, Kaguya replied, a hint of amusement in her otherworldly voice. I existed before time had meaning in this dimension. His manipulations are but echoes of greater powers. With that ominous statement, the rabbit goddess vanished into her dimensional rift, leaving Black Zetsu to coordinate the coming attacks that would draw out the time assassin for their final confrontation. The coordinated attacks began 3 days later. Simultaneous strikes against civilian targets, minor villages, and trading outposts across the 5 great nations, each led by one of the remaining Akatsuki members or their new allies. Hidan attacked a temple complex in the Land of Fire, slaughtering monks to feed his god Jashin's bloodlust. Kakuzu targeted a financial center in the Land of Lightning, combining his bounty hunting with strategic disruption. Kimimaro led an assault on a medical research facility in the Land of Water, seeking treatments for his terminal illness while creating chaos. Most disturbing were the attacks led by White Zetsu clones, dozens of identical plant-based entities striking remote villages with perfect synchronization, each one whispering about the coming of the rabbit goddess. Reports flooded into Konoha's intelligence division, creating a tactical nightmare. No single village could respond to all threats simultaneously, and the pattern was clear. This was a deliberate attempt to overextend defensive capabilities. In the Hokage's office, Tsunade studied the tactical map with growing concern. They're trying to draw you out, she told Naruto, who stood impassively reviewing the reports. Spreading attacks so widely that even your time skip can't cover everything. A logical strategy, Naruto acknowledged. They've adapted to previous failures by forcing resource allocation decisions rather than direct confrontation. Shikamaru Nara, recently promoted to tactical advisor, studied the pattern thoughtfully. There's something else going on. These attacks aren't just random terror strikes. Look at the locations. They form a pattern when viewed from above. He rearranged the map markers, revealing a massive seal-like formation across the 5 nations' territories. This is ritualistic, Shikamaru concluded. They're creating some kind of massive chakra circuit using the attack locations as nodes. Purpose unknown, Naruto observed, but clearly coordinated despite geographical dispersion. Black Zetsu is the likely coordinator given his infiltration capabilities. So what's our response? Tsunade asked. Even you can't be in 20 places at once. Naruto considered briefly. Time domain, multifocal expansion. The air around him shimmered as he implemented a new application of his time abilities, creating multiple stable time fields simultaneously rather than a single localized one. I can establish time anchors at key strategic locations, he explained, as glowing purple markers appeared on the map, corresponding to major attack sites. Each anchor allows instant time skip access regardless of distance, not simultaneous presence, but minimal transition delay between locations. That still leaves you tackling multiple S-rank threats alone, Tsunade pointed out. Even with your abilities, that's a significant risk. Risk assessment indicates acceptable parameters, Naruto replied. The newly formed Joint Shinobi Intervention Task Force provides additional response capability for secondary targets. The task force, created after the 5 Kage Summit, consisted of elite jonin from all 5 villages operating under unified command for the first time in shinobi history. Their primary mission was addressing shared threats, exactly the scenario they now faced. I'll coordinate with the task force to establish priority targets, Shikamaru offered. Maximum coverage with optimal resource allocation. Naruto nodded once. I'll focus on the 3 highest threat individuals, Kakuzu, Hidan, and Kimimaro. Their unique abilities make them particularly challenging for conventional forces. As they finalized the response strategy, another report arrived. This one from Sasuke, who had been investigating the abandoned Akatsuki hideout where Nagato had originally operated. Priority intelligence, the messenger announced, handing the scroll directly to Tsunade. The Hokage's expression darkened as she read. Sasuke reports evidence that Black Zetsu isn't just coordinating these attacks. He's implementing a ritual to fully resurrect someone called Kaguya Otsutsuki, described as the progenitor of chakra and the original jinchūriki of the 10 tails. Kaguya, Naruto repeated, accessing his encyclopedic knowledge of shinobi history. Referenced in ancient texts as the rabbit goddess who consumed the chakra fruit from the god tree, gaining godlike powers that she used to end global warfare through the original infinite Tsukuyomi. You think that's their true objective? Tsunade asked. Resurrecting this ancient goddess? It aligned the ritual pattern Shikamaru identified, Naruto confirmed. The attacks served dual purposes, tactical distraction and chakra harvesting for the resurrection ritual. Then we need to stop the ritual, not just respond to individual attacks, Shikamaru concluded. Target Black Zetsu specifically, since he appears to be the orchestrator. Naruto nodded. I'll prioritize accordingly. Time skip, anchor deployment. He vanished from the office, beginning a systematic response to the coordinated attacks that threatened not just the 5 nations, but potentially the very nature of reality itself if Kaguya were fully resurrected. Hidan laughed maniacally as he carved his ritual circle in the blood of the temple monks. His distinctive 3-bladed scythe gleamed crimson as he prepared another sacrifice to Jashin. More blood, he cackled to the terrified survivors. Lord Jashin demands complete devotion. Time skip. Naruto materialized directly behind the immortal zealot, analyzing the situation instantly. The ritual circle, the blood-coated scythe, the self-inflicted wounds on Hidan's body, all components of his unique immortality jutsu and curse technique. Hidan, S-rank missing nin, member of Akatsuki, practitioner of Jashin's immortality ritual, Naruto recited clinically. Your technique requires ingestion of opponent's blood, formation of ritual circle, and self-injury that transfers to connected target. Hidan spun around, his maniacal grin widening at the sight of his opponent. The famous time assassin. Lord Jashin will be pleased when I offer your blood. He swung his scythe in a wide arc, aiming to draw even a drop of Naruto's blood, all he needed to establish his curse link. Time prison. The purple dome expanded, freezing Hidan in mid-swing. Naruto walked calmly around the immobilized zealot, studying his technique with academic interest. Your immortality functions through continuous cellular regeneration powered by Jashin's ritual, Naruto observed. However, regeneration requires intact cellular structure to serve as template. What happens when that template is disrupted at the time level? The question was rhetorical. As the time prison dissolved, Naruto executed his counter. Time assassination, cellular desynchronization. His hand connected with Hidan's chest, channeling time energy directly into the immortal's body. Unlike his technique against Orochimaru, which accelerated cellular decay, this application created time desynchronization, different parts of Hidan's body existing at slightly different points in time relative to each other. The effect was immediate and horrifying. Hidan's immortal body began to twist and distort as muscles contracted, while bones remained momentarily in the past. Organs accelerated slightly into the future relative to the vascular system feeding them. What is this? Hidan screamed as his body contorted unnaturally. This isn't pain, this is wrong. Time dissonance, Naruto explained dispassionately. Your immortality can regenerate damaged tissue, but cannot reconcile tissue existing in multiple time states simultaneously. Hidan collapsed to the ground, his immortal body unable to maintain coherence as different systems existed microseconds apart from each other. He wasn't dying. His immortality prevented that. But he was effectively neutralized, unable to coordinate even basic movement as his body fought against its own time dissonance. Fascinating response, Naruto observed, securing the incapacitated zealot with specialized restraints. Your immortality actually prevents the release that death would provide from this condition, an ironic consequence of your devotion to Jashin. With Hidan neutralized and secured for transport, Naruto turned his attention to the ritual circle drawn in blood. The pattern aligned with Shikamaru's analysis. This was indeed part of a larger ritual structure spanning multiple attack sites. Time skip, anchor transition. He vanished, moving instantly to his next pre-established time anchor, the financial center where Kakuzu was currently rampaging. Kakuzu had already destroyed half the financial district, his multiple hearts enabling diverse elemental attacks simultaneously. Bodies of defenders lay scattered around him as he methodically cracked vault after vault, combining profit with destruction. Time skip. Naruto appeared directly in Kakuzu's path as the missing nin prepared to breach the central bank vault. Kakuzu, S-rank missing nin, former Takigakure shinobi, possessor of Earth Grudge Fear technique, enabling multiple hearts and extended lifespan. Naruto recited, analyzing his opponent. Kakuzu's stitched face twisted into what might have been a smile. The time assassin himself, your heart will make an excellent addition to my collection. His body distorted as black threads erupted from his back, forming 4 masked entities, each containing one of his additional hearts and capable of independent elemental attacks. 5 distinct targets, Naruto observed, coordinated through a central nervous system but capable of independent operation. Logical response requires simultaneous neutralization. 5-element combination, Kakuzu announced as his masks prepared simultaneous fire, water, earth, lightning, and wind attacks, a devastating combination that few shinobi could hope to survive. Time domain selective deceleration. Rather than a standard time prison, Naruto implemented a more sophisticated time manipulation, specifically targeting just the elemental chakra being formed by each mask. The energy slowed to a crawl, effectively neutralizing the attack before it could be launched. Your Earth Grudge Fear technique has a fundamental vulnerability, Naruto explained as he executed a time skip directly behind Kakuzu's main body. While your hearts operate semi-independently, they share a central chakra distribution system. Flash Fist Crush, Network Disruption. The precision strike hit exactly where Kakuzu's chakra threads connected to his central nervous system. The impact sent a shockwave of concentrated force through the thread network, temporarily severing the connection between the missing nine's consciousness and his auxiliary hearts. The masked entity staggered, momentarily directionless without Kakuzu's control. Naruto seized this opportunity with ruthless efficiency. Time skip, multi-target neutralization. He vanished, reappearing beside each masked entity in rapid succession. With surgical precision, he extracted the hearts from each mask, moving so quickly that to observers it would have appeared simultaneous. Kakuzu roared in fury as he felt his hearts being removed one after another. Impossible. No one is fast enough to. Not speed, Naruto corrected, suddenly back in front of Kakuzu with 4 still beating hearts suspended in small time prison fields. Time manipulation. I'm not moving quickly. I'm skipping the time required for movement entirely. With his auxiliary hearts captured and his thread network disrupted, Kakuzu was reduced to fighting with just his main body and original heart. Still formidable, but no longer the multi-elemental threat he had been moments before. Vital Point Strike, Systemic Shutdown. Naruto's fingers jabbed precisely at key points throughout Kakuzu's body, targeting the unique chakra pathways that enabled his Earth Grudge Fear technique. Each strike severed another connection until the missing nine's body began to unravel, the black threads losing cohesion without proper chakra flow. Your thread-based physiology makes you particularly vulnerable to targeted chakra disruption, Naruto explained clinically as Kakuzu collapsed, his body partially disintegrating into a mass of inert threads. Conventional combat focuses on destroying your hearts. The more efficient approach is disrupting the system that connects them. Like Hidan before him, Kakuzu was secured for transport. His auxiliary hearts kept separately in sustained time prison fields to prevent reintegration. 2 high-priority targets neutralized. 1 remained before Naruto would turn his attention to the White Zetsu army and the ritual they were implementing. Time skip, anchor transition. He vanished again, moving to the medical research facility where Kimimaro Kaguya was leading his assault. The scene at the medical facility was different from the previous 2 attacks. Where Hidan had been chaotic and Kakuzu methodical, Kimimaro's assault was precise and almost surgical. The last survivor of the Kaguya clan moved with graceful efficiency, his bone weapons extending from his body as he systematically secured research documents rather than simply destroying them. "You're dying," Naruto observed as he appeared behind Kimimaro. "Your attack on this facility is motivated by self-preservation rather than Akatsuki's objectives." Kimimaro turned slowly, bones protruding from his palms in preparation for combat. Despite his illness, his movements were fluid and controlled, the mark of a true prodigy. "Time assassin," he acknowledged calmly. "Yes, I seek treatment for my condition, but I also serve a greater purpose, Lord Orochimaru's vision." "Orochimaru is captured," Naruto informed him. "His ambitions have ended. You serve a memory, not a reality." Something flickered in Kimimoro's eyes. Doubt, perhaps. But his resolve remained. "Then I serve what he represented. The pursuit of knowledge without arbitrary limitations. The evolution of humanity beyond its current boundaries." "An idealized interpretation of a fundamentally selfish agenda," Naruto countered. Orochimaru sought immortality and power for personal satisfaction, not societal advancement. Kimimoro's expression hardened. "You speak with such certainty about motivations you cannot truly know." "Dance of the Clematis, flower," he announced, a large bone drill forming around his arm as he charged with remarkable speed. "Time prison." The purple dome expanded, but Kimimaro had anticipated this. He had studied reports of Naruto's previous encounters and prepared accordingly. As the time field formed, he executed a technique of his own. "Dance of the Seedling Fern." Massive bone spikes erupted from the ground throughout the facility, their growth so explosive that even slowed by the time prison, they continued to extend at a visible rate. The technique's sheer scale and momentum partially countered the time effect. "Interesting counter," Naruto observed, adjusting his approach. "Your Kekkei Genkai operates on accelerated cellular manipulation, bone growth at exponentially increased rates. That provides partial resistance to time deceleration." He released the time prison, recognizing its limited effectiveness against this particular opponent. Time skip, positional advantage. Naruto vanished, reappearing directly above the forest of bone spikes that now filled the facility. From this vantage point, he could observe Kimimoro's position at the center of the technique, the source from which all bones extended. Flash fist crush, propagation disruption. He descended with precision, his strike targeted not at Kimimaro directly, but at the exact point where his Kekkei Genkai connected to the surrounding bone forest. The impact sent a shockwave through the entire bone structure, creating microfractures throughout the network. Kimimaro staggered as feedback from the disrupted technique reverberated through his body. The bone forest stopped growing, cracks appearing across its surface. "Your Kekkei Genkai is remarkable," Naruto acknowledged as he landed before Kimimaro. "But it relies on continuous chakra flow from your central nervous system to the extended bone structures. Disrupt that flow, and the technique collapses." Despite the setback, Kimimaro remained composed. The curse mark on his neck spread across his body, transforming him into his second state, more monstrous, with increased bone density and regenerative capabilities. "This doesn't have to continue," Naruto offered, recognizing the toll the transformation was taking on Kimimaro's already failing body. "Your condition is terminal, but could be stabilized through time suspension. I can help you." For a moment, Kimimaro hesitated, genuine surprise crossing his features. "You would help me? Why?" "Efficiency," Naruto replied simply. "Your death serves no tactical purpose. Your abilities could be redirected constructively. The optimal outcome preserves your unique Kekkei Genkai while neutralizing the immediate threat." It was perhaps the closest thing to mercy that Naruto's calculating mind could offer, a coldly logical compassion based on resource preservation rather than emotional empathy. Kimimaro studied him, then slowly retracted his bone weapons. "You are not what I expected." "Most opponents rely on emotional assumptions rather than objective analysis," Naruto observed. "Will you surrender and accept medical intervention?" After a moment's consideration, Kimimaro nodded. "My loyalty to Lord Orochimaru was based on his acceptance when all others feared my abilities. If you offer the same without requiring blind obedience, I will consider your proposal." Time restoration, cellular stabilization. Naruto placed his hand on Kimimaro's chest, channeling time energy that selectively reversed the progression of his terminal illness, not curing it completely, but essentially freezing it at its current stage, preventing further deterioration. "This is temporary," Naruto explained. "Full treatment will require specialized medical protocols, but it will sustain you until proper intervention can be implemented. Kimimaro looked down at his body in wonder as the pain that had been his constant companion for years suddenly abated. This feeling, is this what health feels like? Partial health, Naruto corrected. Now, tell me about Black Zetsu's plan. What is the purpose of these coordinated attacks? With Kimimaro's cooperation secured, Naruto gained valuable intelligence about the ritual being implemented across the 5 nations. A massive chakra harvesting operation designed to fully resurrect Kaguya Otsutsuki from her dimensional prison. Time skip command return. With 3 primary targets neutralized and critical intelligence acquired, Naruto returned to Konoha's command center, where Tsunade and Shikamaru were coordinating the broader response to the White Zetsu attacks. Primary targets secured, he reported, appearing suddenly in the command room. Hidan neutralized through time desynchronization. Kakuzu's heart network disrupted. Kimimaro Kaguya turned cooperative after medical intervention. The White Zetsu clones are being engaged by joint task force teams, Tsunade informed him. But they're everywhere, and reports indicate they're all channeling harvested chakra toward a central location. Shikamaru pointed to a specific point on the map, the Valley of the End, where Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju had their legendary battle. All ritual energy converges here, he explained. According to reports from the field, Black Zetsu himself is at this location, conducting the final stage of the resurrection ritual. Then that's where I need to be, Naruto decided. The White Zetsu army is a distraction. Black Zetsu is the priority target. Be careful, Tsunade warned, uncharacteristic concern in her voice. If even half the legends about Kaguya are true, she represents a threat beyond anything we've faced before. Acknowledged, Naruto replied. Time skip, extended range. He vanished from the command center, heading directly toward the final confrontation with Black Zetsu, and potentially with the rabbit goddess herself. The Valley of the End had been transformed. The massive statues of Hashirama and Madara now served as anchors for an enormous ritual formation that stretched across the landscape. Black Zetsu stood at its center, his arms raised as glowing chakra streams converged from all directions, the harvested energy from the synchronized attacks across the 5 nations. Yes, the plant-like entity hissed in satisfaction. Finally, after centuries of manipulation, the ritual is complete. Return to us, Mother. The dimensional fabric at the center of the formation began to tear, a rift forming between realities. From this rift emerged Kaguya Otsutsuki, her otherworldly presence immediately distorting the natural environment around her. Plants withered, water reversed its flow, gravity itself seemed to fluctuate in her presence. The chakra I gave this world returns to me, she stated, her voice echoing with unnatural resonance. As is right, as is inevitable. Welcome back, Mother, Black Zetsu greeted reverently. The world awaits your judgment. Time skip. Naruto materialized at the edge of the ritual formation, instantly assessing the situation. The dimensional rift, the converging chakra streams, the presence of Kaguya herself, all indicated that the resurrection ritual had succeeded despite his efforts to disrupt the component attacks. Kao Otsutsuki, he acknowledged calmly. Progenitor of chakra, consumer of the god tree fruit, original caster of infinite Tsukuyomi. The horned woman turned her alien gaze toward him, her third eye, the Rinne Sharingan, focusing with disturbing intensity. You, she stated rather than asked, the one who manipulates time. Your chakra feels familiar, yet different, like an echo from another existence entirely. Black Zetsu's yellow eye widened. Mother, this is the time assassin I warned you about, the one who disrupted our plans and captured most of Akatsuki. I see, Kaguya replied, studying Naruto with increased interest. Show me this time manipulation child of my chakra. It wasn't a request, it was a command from a being who considered herself divine. Naruto, however, responded not with obedience, but with analysis. Your dimensional abilities rely on the Rinne Sharingan, he observed. A combination of Rinnegan and Sharingan capabilities, enabling manipulation of space, gravity, and dimensional boundaries. Impressive, but still operating within conventional reality frameworks. Time prison, maximum expansion. The purple dome materialized, larger than any he had previously created, engulfing both Kaguya and Black Zetsu. Within this expanded field, time slowed to a near standstill for everything except Naruto himself, or so he thought. To his surprise, Kaguya moved within the time prison as if completely unaffected, her expression unchanged as she stepped forward. Time manipulation, she acknowledged, her voice undistorted by the time field. Interesting, but fundamentally limited. I existed before time had structure in this dimension, child. Your techniques cannot bind me. With a casual gesture, she dispelled the time prison entirely, not just resisting it, but unraveling the technique itself. This was unprecedented. No opponent had ever simply negated Naruto's time abilities before. It represented a significant tactical complication. Mother is beyond your understanding, Black Zetsu gloated, still partially slowed by the time field's residual effects despite its disruption. She transcends the very concepts you manipulate. Naruto reassessed instantly. If direct time manipulation was ineffective, alternative approaches would be required. Time skip. He vanished, reappearing behind Kaguya with precision timing. Flash fist crush, maximum impact. His strike connected with Kaguya's back, channeling every ounce of force he could generate through perfect time alignment, a technique that had shattered Pain's bodies and disrupted Kakuzu's thread network. Against Kaguya, it barely caused her to step forward. Physical attacks? She asked, genuine curiosity in her voice. From one who commands time? How? Primitive. She turned, her sleeve extending unnaturally to wrap around Naruto's arm before he could execute another time skip. The contact sent a shock of alien chakra through his system, vast, cold, and ancient. Your chakra resists absorption, she noted with increased interest. Another anomaly. What are you, time manipulator? Naruto Uzumaki, he replied calmly despite the tactical disadvantage. Jinchūriki of the nine-tailed fox, time manipulator, Konoha shinobi. Those are labels, not essence, Kaguya dismissed. Your core energy resonates differently from other humans of this world, almost as if you don't fully belong here. Her insight was disturbing in its accuracy. The memories and abilities of Hit, the legendary assassin from another universe, had indeed made Naruto something not fully aligned with his native reality. Time skip, forced transition. He channeled time energy differently, creating not just spatial displacement, but a forceful push that disrupted Kaguya's grip. The technique succeeded, allowing him to reappear several meters away. Your dimensional control is impressive, Naruto acknowledged, recalibrating his approach. But it still operates within the multiverse structure. Time manipulation transcends dimensional boundaries. Time assassination, reality fracture. He implemented a technique he had never before revealed, not just manipulating time within the current dimension, but creating a localized fracture in the time fabric itself. The air around Kaguya distorted as multiple timelines briefly overlapped, creating a disorienting effect even for a being of her power. For the first time, Kaguya showed a reaction, a slight widening of her alien eyes as the time fracture momentarily disrupted her dimensional perception. Interesting, she acknowledged. You don't merely slow time, you can manipulate its structural integrity. Time is the fundamental framework upon which all dimensions are constructed, Naruto explained, maintaining the reality fracture effect with visible effort. Dimensional manipulation is impressive, but secondary to time control. Kaguya raised her hand, her Reincarnation glowing ominously. A theory worth testing. The space around them suddenly shifted, the Valley of the End disappearing as reality itself transformed. They now stood in a volcanic dimension, one of Kaguya's personal realms where lava flowed like water and the air shimmered with heat. Dimensional shift, Naruto identified the technique. You've transported us to one of your 6 paths realms, specifically designed to counter water-based techniques, which you presumably associated with the Nine-Tails Jinchūriki. Your analytical capacity is impressive, Kaguya noted, but analysis alone won't save you in my domain. The lava surged upward at her command, forming a massive wave that rushed toward Naruto from all directions. Time domain, environmental neutralization. Rather than trying to affect Kaguya directly, Naruto expanded his time control to the environment itself. The lava slowed dramatically, giving him ample time to assess and respond. Your dimensional realms still operate within time physics, he observed. They can be manipulated through time control even if you personally resist such effects. This represented a tactical opening. While Kaguya herself might be resistant to direct time manipulation, her dimensional constructs remained vulnerable. Time skip, multi-point perception. He executed a series of rapid time skips, appearing at multiple locations around the dimensional realm in quick succession. Each transition allowed him to analyze another aspect of the pocket dimension's structure, identifying the chakra anchor points that maintained its stability. "Your dimensions are impressive constructs," Naruto acknowledged as he continued his analysis, "but they rely on consistent chakra application and stable dimensional boundaries." Time disruption, boundary decay. He directed his time energy not at Kaguya, but at the very fabric of her dimensional realm. By accelerating time at key structural points while decelerating it at others, he created time dissonance in the dimension itself, essentially beginning to unravel it from within. Kaguya's expression shifted from curiosity to genuine concern as her volcanic realm began to destabilize. Cracks appeared in reality itself, showing glimpses of other dimensions beyond. "Impossible," Black Zetsu gasped, having been transported along with them. "No one can disrupt Mother's dimensions." But the evidence was undeniable. The volcanic realm was collapsing, its internal physics becoming increasingly chaotic as time dissonance spread throughout its structure. Kaguya raised her hand again, shifting them to a new dimension before the first could fully collapse, an arctic realm of endless ice and crushing gravity. "Your resistance is unprecedented," she acknowledged, genuine interest in her voice. "But futile. I control 6 distinct realms. Even if you can disrupt one, the effort leaves you vulnerable in the next." The increased gravity pressed down on Naruto, significantly heavier than Earth's natural pull. Most shinobi would have been instantly pinned to the ground. Gravity manipulation, Naruto identified. Applied through dimensional properties rather than direct force like Payne's technique. More efficient, but still bound by physical constants. Time skip, gravity neutralization. He executed a modified version of his signature technique, briefly phasing outside normal space-time to reset the gravitational effect on his body. When he rematerialized, he stood normally despite the crushing pressure around him. "Your time skip bypasses dimensional constants," Kaguya observed with increasing interest. "A technique with significant implications. Perhaps you are more valuable alive than dead, time manipulator." "Your assessment is irrelevant," Naruto replied calmly. "Your resurrection threatens global stability. Neutralization is the only acceptable outcome." He began the same process of time disruption on this new dimension, targeting its structural integrity through accelerated decay at key points. Kaguya observed his methodical dismantling of her dimension with an unreadable expression. Then, without warning, she opened another dimensional portal. But instead of transporting them elsewhere, she reached through it towards something unseen. When her hand returned, it held a familiar figure. Sasuke Uchiha, somehow plucked from Konoha despite the vast dimensional distance. "Your comrade was investigating my emergence," Kaguya explained, holding the struggling Uchiha by his throat. "A talented descendant of my son Indra. Perhaps this will adjust your tactical calculations." It was a logical move, introducing a hostage element to complicate Naruto's cold efficiency. However, her understanding of his psychology was flawed. "Hostage tactics are ineffective against me," Naruto stated flatly. "Emotional manipulation requires emotional investment. I operate on tactical optimization, not personal attachment." Despite his words, he did pause his dimensional disruption technique, not out of emotional concern, but strategic calculation. Sasuke represented a valuable Konoha asset whose capabilities could potentially assist in this confrontation. Time skip, precision extraction. He vanished, reappearing directly beside Kaguya in the microsecond when her attention was divided between maintaining the dimension and controlling Sasuke. His hand shot out, not to strike Kaguya, but to establish momentary contact with Sasuke. Time connection. The brief touch established a time link between them, allowing Naruto to execute his next move. Time skip, dual transition. Both Naruto and Sasuke vanished simultaneously, reappearing several dozen meters away, safely outside Kaguya's immediate reach. "Naruto," Sasuke gasped, recovering from the unexpected dimensional transportation. "What is she? Her power is unlike anything I've encountered." "Kaguya Otsutsuki, progenitor of all chakra, consumer of the god tree fruit. Effectively a deity by human standards," Naruto summarized clinically. "Direct confrontation is suboptimal. Her dimensional control counters most conventional techniques." "Then what's the strategy?" Sasuke asked, activating his Manjikyo Sharingan as he assessed their opponent. Combined approach, Naruto decided. Your Sharingan can track her dimensional rifts. My time manipulation can disrupt their stability. Together, we can potentially force her back to the primary dimension where sealing might be possible. Kaguya watched their exchange with detached interest. Coordination against me? Amusing, but futile. You exist because I permitted chakra to flourish in this world. All of it belongs to me by right. She raised both hands, her Rinne's Sharingan glowing brightly as she prepared a more significant technique. Expansive truth-seeking ball. Black Zetsu identified with reverent awe. Mother's ultimate technique. It will erase everything it touches from existence. A massive black sphere began forming above Kaguya, growing rapidly as it absorbed chakra from the surrounding dimension. Unlike the truth-seeking balls used by six-path Sage Mode users, this technique operated on a vastly larger scale, potentially capable of destroying the entire dimension and everyone in it. Planetary scale destruction, Naruto assessed instantly. Conventional counters ineffective at this magnitude. We need to stop that technique before it completes, Sasuke urged, preparing his most powerful lightning attack despite knowing its likely futility. Agreed. Time domain, maximum expansion. Naruto pushed his time abilities to their absolute limit, creating a time field that encompassed the entire forming truth-seeking ball. Unlike his previous attempts to affect Kaguya directly, this technique targeted her creation, slowing its formation to a near standstill. Your time control is impressive, Kaguya acknowledged, but merely delays the inevitable. Delay creates opportunity, Naruto countered. Sasuke, can you use your Rinnegan to create a dimensional rift? Sasuke's eyes widened slightly. His Sharingan had indeed evolved into a Rinnegan during his investigations into Kaguya's emergence, though he hadn't yet mastered its abilities. Theoretically, he confirmed, focusing his newly awakened power, but I can't control the destination precisely. Destination irrelevant, Naruto stated. We need dimensional instability, not specific transportation. Understanding dawned in Sasuke's expression. Create conflict between her dimension and another, forcing a collapse. Precisely. Implement on my mark. Naruto intensified his time domain effect around the truth-seeking ball, while simultaneously preparing a reality fracture technique. The combination would be taxing even for his chakra reserves, but necessary given the threat level. Now, he instructed as his time field reached maximum intensity. Ameno Tejikara, Sasuke announced, activating his Rinnegan's dimensional rift ability. A tear in reality formed directly beside Kaguya's slow truth-seeking ball, creating dimensional interference patterns where the two spaces intersected. Reality fracture, dimensional nexus. Naruto channeled his time energy into the intersection point, creating not just time distortion, but a catastrophic collision between dimensional fabrics moving at different time rates. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The truth-seeking ball destabilized, its perfect sphere form distorting as dimensional conflicts tore at its integrity. Kaguya's ice dimension began collapsing more rapidly than before, reality itself seeming to fold and fracture around them. What have you done? Black Zetsu shrieked as the dimensional collapse accelerated. Forced dimensional reset, Naruto explained calmly despite the chaos surrounding them. When multiple dimensions collapse simultaneously, the multiverse defaults to the primary dimension as a stability measure. Kaguya's expression showed the first hint of alarm as her carefully constructed realm disintegrated around them. The Rinne's Sharingan glowed brilliantly as she attempted to stabilize the collapsing dimension. But the time disruption had created a cascading failure beyond even her control. Reality fractured completely, and the blinding light of dimensional transfer enveloped them all. When the light faded, they stood once again in the Valley of the End, returned to the primary dimension exactly where they had started. The truth-seeking ball had vanished, disrupted by the dimensional collapse. Kaguya's perfect composure had finally cracked, her expression showing genuine shock at being forcibly returned to the primary dimension against her will. Impossible, she whispered, her otherworldly voice tinged with disbelief. No human should be able to disrupt my dimensions. Not human capability, Naruto corrected. Time manipulation transcends dimensional boundaries because time is the fundamental constant across all realities. He turned to Sasuke. Her power is diminished in the primary dimension due to incomplete resurrection. This is our optimal opportunity. Sasuke nodded, his Rinnegan and Sharingan combination tracking Kaguya's every movement. What's the approach? Combined sealing, Naruto decided. Your Rinnegan provides a dimensional anchor. My time abilities will prevent her escape during implementation. Black Zetsu, sensing the shifting tactical situation, moved to intervene. Mother, we should retreat to another dimension. They can't pursue if... Time prison, isolation field. A small, precisely targeted time field engulfed Black Zetsu alone, freezing him in mid-sentence. Unlike Kaguya, her creation lacked her immunity to time manipulation. Your will made manifest. Naruto identified, studying the time-frozen entity, the connection point between your consciousness and this dimension. A tactical vulnerability. Kaguya's eyes narrowed as she recognized the threat to her loyal creation. You understand too much, time manipulator. Perhaps you truly are from beyond this reality's boundaries. Reality fracture, entity isolation. Naruto directed his most advanced time technique not at Kaguya herself, but at the connection between her and Black Zetsu. By creating time dissonance in their link, he effectively began severing the connection that anchored her consciousness to the physical world. The effect was immediate. Kaguya staggered, her form briefly flickering as the time disruption interfered with her manifestation. Now, Sasuke! Naruto called, maintaining the reality fracture with visible effort. 6 paths, planetary devastation, Sasuke announced. Utilizing his Rinnegan's most powerful sealing technique, the ground around Kaguya began to rise, forming a spherical prison of earth and rock that enclosed her weakened form. As the seal began to take shape, Naruto implemented the final component of their strategy, time lock, perpetual stasis. He directed his remaining chakra into creating a time field unlike any he had used before, not slowing time, but essentially freezing it in perfect stasis within the forming seal. If successful, this would prevent Kaguya from breaking free through dimensional manipulation, as she would exist in a state of perfect time suspension. The combination of Sasuke's physical seal and Naruto's time lock created a containment system far more sophisticated than the original seal implemented by Hagoromo and Hamura thousands of years ago. As the seal completed, a blinding light erupted from its surface, forcing both Naruto and Sasuke to shield their eyes. When the light faded, a perfect sphere of stone hovered above the valley, glowing with the combined energies of Rinnegan sealing and time stasis. Is it over? Sasuke asked, visibly exhausted from the chakra expenditure of his sealing technique. The immediate threat is neutralized, Naruto confirmed, though his own chakra reserves were significantly depleted, a rare occurrence for him. However, the seal requires permanent monitoring. Her consciousness remains intact within the time stasis field. And him? Sasuke gestured toward the still frozen Black Zetsu. A separate containment protocol will be required, Naruto decided. As Kaguya's will made manifest, he represents a continuing threat if released. With precise control, Naruto adjusted the time prison containing Black Zetsu, converting it from a temporary field to a more permanent stasis, similar to but distinct from the one containing Kaguya herself. 2 containment systems, Naruto summarized. Kaguya sealed within Sasuke's planetary devastation, reinforced by time stasis. Black Zetsu in separate time containment to prevent reconnection attempts. The threat had been neutralized, but at significant cost. Both Naruto and Sasuke had expended chakra levels that would require days to fully recover, a vulnerability neither had experienced in years. Time skip, command return. With the last of his readily available chakra, Naruto executed a final time skip, transporting himself, Sasuke, and the 2 sealed entities back to Konoha's command center, where a very surprised Tsunade and Shikamaru were still coordinating the response to the White Zetsu attacks. Targets neutralized, Naruto reported with characteristic understatement, despite the unprecedented nature of what they had just accomplished. Kaguya Otsutsuki and Black Zetsu contained. Request specialized sealing unit for long-term containment protocols. Tsunade stared at the floating stone sphere and the eerie black figure frozen in time stasis beside it. You actually sealed an ancient goddess? Combined approach, Naruto explained, allowing himself to sit for the first time in what felt like days. Sasuke's Rinnegan provided physical containment. My time abilities prevented dimensional escape. dual-layer ceiling system with unprecedented security parameters. Shikamaru studied the containment spheres with analytical interest. And the White Zetsu army? Without Black Zetsu's coordination, they lose strategic direction, Naruto assessed. Standard combat units can eliminate remaining forces efficiently. As if to confirm his analysis, reports began flowing in from across the 5 nations. With Kaguya sealed and Black Zetsu contained, the White Zetsu army had indeed lost cohesion, making them vulnerable to conventional forces. The Joint Shinobi Intervention Task Force, comprised of elite shinobi from all 5 villages, was systematically eliminating the remaining threats with minimal casualties. For the first time in shinobi history, the great villages were fighting together rather than against each other, a paradigm shift catalyzed by the very existence of the time assassin they had initially feared. "I think," Tsunade said slowly, looking from the sealed goddess to the exhausted Naruto, "we need to seriously discuss your role going forward. What you've accomplished today, it changes everything." Tactical reassessment is logical, Naruto agreed, his energy visibly depleted, but his analytical mind still sharp. The Joint Shinobi Time Intervention Protocol has demonstrated effectiveness against unprecedented threat levels. Expansion of the framework would optimize security outcomes across all villages. Sasuke, equally exhausted, managed a small smile at Naruto's characteristic response. Always the pragmatist, even after sealing a goddess. "Pragmatism is efficient," Naruto replied simply. "And we have much to discuss about your newly awakened Rinnegan and its tactical applications." As medical teams arrived to assess them, and specialized sealing units secured the contained threats, something unprecedented happened. A flash of genuine emotion crossed Naruto's typically impassive face. Not happiness or pride or relief, but something more subtle. A brief acknowledgement that they had accomplished something truly extraordinary. For the legendary time assassin, it was perhaps the most human moment he had experienced since awakening his time abilities. A recognition that even his coldly logical mind could appreciate the significance of what they had achieved, not just tactically, but for the future of the shinobi world itself. 1 year after Kaguya's sealing, the shinobi world had transformed in ways few could have imagined. The Joint Shinobi Intervention Protocol had evolved from an emergency response to the foundation of a new international order, one where the 5 great villages maintained their independence but cooperated on mutual security threats. At the center of this new paradigm stood Naruto Uzumaki, the time assassin, whose abilities had catalyzed the most significant political shift in shinobi history. Rather than feared as an unstoppable weapon, he had become something more complex, a deterrent against conflict, a guarantor of agreements, and a symbol of what was possible when traditional enemies found common ground. The 5 Kaji gathered in Konoha for the formal signing of the Shinobi Union Charter, a document establishing permanent cooperative security arrangements among the formerly hostile villages. Each Kaji brought their most trusted advisors, creating an unprecedented gathering of the world's most powerful shinobi. A year ago, we met in fear of a single individual with the power to disrupt the balance we had maintained for generations. Gaara, the Kazekage, addressed the assembly. Today, we meet as partners in a new approach to security, one that recognizes the futility of perpetual conflict cycles. The time assassin showed us that our traditional approach to power was obsolete. Onoki, the Tsuchikage, acknowledged with his characteristic bluntness. When one shinobi can neutralize entire organizations of S-rank threats, conventional warfare becomes meaningless. And yet, power alone doesn't create stability, Mei Terumi, the Mizukage, added thoughtfully. It's the application of that power with precision and restraint that has enabled this transition. The Raikaji A, still somewhat uncomfortable with the new arrangement, but practical enough to recognize its benefits, grunted agreement. The Joint Intervention Task Force has eliminated more mutual threats in 1 year than our individual villages managed in the previous decade. Efficiency is undeniable. Tsunade, hosting as Hokage, turned to where Naruto stood quietly, observing the proceedings. And none of this would have been possible without the unique perspective brought by our most unusual shinobi. Naruto, would you care to address the assembly? all eyes turned to the time assassin, whose reputation had grown to nearly mythical proportions following the sealing of Kaguya and the systematic dismantling of remaining threats over the past year. Naruto stepped forward, his expression characteristically impassive, but somehow less remote than it had been before these events began. His experiences, particularly the confrontation with Kaguya, had subtly shifted something in his analytical mind, not creating conventional emotion, but perhaps allowing for a broader definition of efficiency that included concepts like cooperation and stability. Traditional shinobi systems relied on balanced opposition, he began, his voice clear and precise. Villages of comparable power maintaining uneasy equilibrium through mutual deterrence. That approach was logical within its historical context, but fundamentally unstable. He paused, looking at each Kaji in turn. Time manipulation disrupted that paradigm not just tactically, but conceptually. When time itself becomes a controllable variable, conventional power assessments lose meaning. This created an opportunity, transition from balance of power politics to collective security frameworks. The assembled leaders listened with rapt attention. Whatever their initial feelings about the time assassin, none could deny the clarity of his analysis. The past year has demonstrated that cooperation yields superior security outcomes compared to competition, Naruto continued. The Shinobi Union represents not just political evolution, but tactical optimization, more efficient resource allocation, reduced redundancy in defense systems, and coordinated response to mutual threats. And your role in this new system? The Raikage asked directly, the question that had concerned many since the beginning. Specialized intervention for threats beyond conventional response capabilities, Naruto replied simply, with oversight from the Joint Council to ensure appropriate deployment parameters. What he didn't explicitly state, but all understood, was that his very existence served as the ultimate guarantor of the agreements being signed. No village would lightly violate terms when the consequence could be a visit from the time assassin, a deterrent more effective than any army. And what of the future? Gaara asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. Your abilities continue to evolve. Where does that lead? It was a profound question that touched on concerns many still harbored. What were the ultimate limits of time manipulation? And what would Naruto become as his abilities continued to develop? Time exploration, Naruto answered after a thoughtful pause. My initial abilities focused on combat applications, time skip for positioning, time prison for neutralization. But time manipulation has broader implications for understanding reality itself. You mean time travel? Onoki asked sharply, voicing the concern many had privately harbored. Not precisely, Naruto clarified. Linear time displacement creates paradox risks and causality disruptions. My interest lies in time observation, understanding how past decisions created present conditions to optimize future outcomes. It was perhaps the most personal glimpse he had ever provided into his internal thought processes, revealing not just tactical calculation, but genuine curiosity about the nature of time itself. As the formal signing proceeded, Sasuke approached Naruto at the periphery of the gathering. The last Uchiha had undergone his own evolution over the past year, his Rinnegan abilities developing in coordination with Naruto's time techniques to create unprecedented operational capabilities. They're still afraid of you, Sasuke observed quietly, just smart enough not to show it overtly. Fear is a rational response to capability disparities, Naruto replied with characteristic detachment. But fear can motivate cooperation as effectively as trust when properly channeled. Sasuke studied his teammate thoughtfully. You've changed, you know. Not obviously, but it's there. That confrontation with Kaguya, it affected you. Naruto considered this assessment with unusual care. Her perspective was informative. A being who existed before time had structure in this dimension, who perceived reality differently than conventional consciousness. It suggests possibilities beyond current time understanding. You're interested in what she knew, Sasuke realized, about other dimensions, other realities. The multiverse hypothesis has practical implications, Naruto confirmed. Kaguya recognized something in my time signature, described it as familiar yet different, like an echo from another existence. That aligns with the memories I've always carried. It was the closest he had ever come to directly discussing the origins of his abilities, the memories and knowledge of Hit, the legendary assassin from another universe entirely, somehow transferred across dimensional boundaries into Naruto Uzumaki at birth. So what's next for the time assassin? Sasuke asked. Now that the world's greatest threats have been neutralized and the villages are actually cooperating? Naruto's gaze turned briefly toward the secure facility visible through the window, the specialized containment center where Kaguya and Black Zetsu remain sealed, along with other high-level threats too dangerous to eliminate but too valuable to destroy. Exploration, he replied simply. Time manipulation began as a combat technique but has evolved beyond tactical applications. The nature of reality itself contains unexplored dimensions: time, spatial, conceptual. Sounds lonely, Sasuke observed. Solitude is efficient for certain types of investigation, Naruto replied, though without his former absolute conviction. The past year of unprecedented cooperation had demonstrated the tactical value of complementary capabilities, Sasuke's Rinnegan and his time manipulation creating synergies neither could achieve alone. As the ceremony concluded and the new shinobi union officially came into existence, Naruto found himself contemplating concepts that would have seemed irrelevant to his calculating mind just a year earlier. Legacy, connection, purpose beyond mere tactical optimization. The confrontation with Kaguya had revealed the existence of powers beyond even his time manipulation, dimensional authorities that transcended conventional reality. Yet, it had also demonstrated the effectiveness of cooperation, of combined approaches that leveraged complementary abilities. That night, as Konoha celebrated the historic treaty signing, Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument, looking out over the village he had been born to protect. His time abilities had evolved far beyond their original parameters, allowing him to perceive subtle time currents flowing through reality itself, echoes of past decisions, probability waves of future potentials. Time skip, perceptual expansion. He implemented a technique he had been developing since Kaguya's sealing, not physical displacement, but perceptual extension across time boundaries. For a brief, breathtaking moment, he perceived not just the present Konoha, but echoes of its past and glimpses of potential futures. A village that had evolved from warring clans to the center of a new cooperative world order. The experience was unlike anything his analytical mind had previously categorized. Not useful in conventional combat terms, not tactically significant by traditional metrics, yet somehow valuable. Perhaps this was what Kaguya had meant about existing before time had structure, perceiving reality not as linear progression, but as interconnected patterns across multiple dimensions simultaneously. As the time perception faded, Naruto felt something he had rarely experienced before, a sense of genuine purpose beyond mere efficiency. The time assassin had reshaped the shinobi world, not just through combat prowess, but by forcing a fundamental reassessment of what security meant in a world where traditional power metrics no longer applied. The future remained uncertain, with challenges yet to emerge and threats yet to be identified. But for perhaps the first time since awakening his time abilities, Naruto Uzumaki looked toward that uncertainty not just with cold calculation, but with something approaching curiosity. Time, after all, contained infinite possibilities, and he had only begun to explore them.
And that's how the ultimate assassin rewrote history itself. Did Naruto's time manipulation abilities blow your mind? Which technique was your absolute favorite? The devastating time prison or that brutal flash fist crush finale? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching the shinobi world bow before true power, smash that subscribe button for more epic what-if scenarios that'll leave you speechless. Hit the notification bell because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.